Oh shit. Hey, make sure y'all get this video a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. What am I doing? What am I doing? Trying to get the everything set up before I start. And hopefully more people come in before I start. 4 people here. Make sure y'all get this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it if you do. We're gonna be finishing The Way of the Superior Man tonight, and we're gonna be listening to The Art of War as well. So we probably got like 3 hours left on this book. So hopefully we can get through it tonight. If not, then we're gonna be listening to The Art of War tomorrow. So been feeling kind of, my nose is getting kind of stuffy. My daughter got me sick again. Hopefully I ain't got COVID. I just got over that in February. So I just been having a little cold, little sniffles and stuff. I just took some Mucinex. So hopefully that kick in pretty quick so I ain't got to be sniffling stuff on camera.
Between your masculine core and the feminine radiance of a woman. If you feel uncomfortable with your attraction to women, you are probably uncomfortable with your own masculine essence. If you feel it is demeaning for a woman to be the object of your polar attraction, then you have probably disowned your masculine core. You have energetically emasculated yourself by condemning and suppressing your native desires. You are negating your sexual essence rather than being at home with it. Any negative attitude you have about your attraction to women is a sign of fear. Somewhere along the line, you learned that such attraction was bad or evil. Your attraction to women, all kinds of women, is natural, normal, and beautiful. In fact, it is an aspect of the same desire that will ultimately lead you towards spiritual freedom. Your desire for a woman is an aspect of your desire for pleasurable oneness. Your confession of desire is a confession of your desire to embrace life. To embrace life, to relax into oneness so that all opposites, including masculine and feminine, find their unity in love, is to be spiritually free. Eventually, you will recognize that all desire is an aspect of your natural impulse to give love. From beginning to end, your attraction to women can be seen as the essential gesture of your heart, your desire for love and unity. If you are a man with a masculine sexual essence, you will always feel sexual polarity with anyone who animates feminine energy. You may feel this attraction many times a day with many women. Enjoy it. Women are a blessing. The feminine, even in the non-human forms of a lush tropical island, a cold beer, or your favorite tune, could make the difference between dreariness and I'm in ecstasy. Our acceptance of sexual attraction, even with music and places, is at the root of our experience bodily pleasure. Sexual attraction, however, is very different from having sex. There is a big difference between choosing to be intimate with a woman and simply being attracted to her energy and radiance. Intimacy is a choice between people who want to commit to loving and serving one another, whereas the zing of attraction is a choiceless, natural flow of energy between your masculine core and feminine energy, wherever it is found. When a woman is relaxed in her feminine radiance, she is like beautiful music or warm ocean breeze. Our acceptance of sexual attraction her to savor inexpressible joy. If you are like most men, a radiant woman can inspire you for hours or days. Remember, the desire she arouses in you is a blessing in itself. Acting on that desire and pursuing her is another matter entirely, dependent on whether such an action would truly serve both of you or not. But the mere inspiration felt while beholding a radiant woman is one of nature's gifts to you, the gift of feminine blessing. The next time you come upon a woman who sends a thrill through your body, relax into the thrill. Let her waves of feminine energy move through your body like a deep massage.
I almost followed my
Breathe
own
fully, without resisting the joy her sighting affords you. Breathe the joy all through your body, down to your toes. Don't stare at her, don't even interact with her. But when you see her and you experience your attraction, fully allow the energy of attraction to move freely through your body. Learn to magnify and sustain your desire so your whole body and breath open and deepen by its force. As you behold her, receive her vision as a blessing. Chapter 24. Choose a woman who is your complementary opposite. If a man is very masculine by nature, then he will be attracted to a very feminine woman who will complement his energy. The more neutral or balanced he is, the more balanced he will prefer his woman. And if a man is more feminine by nature, his energy will be complemented by the strong direction and purposiveness of a more masculine woman. By understanding their own needs, men can learn to accept the whole package of a woman. For instance, a more masculine man can expect that any woman who really turns him on and enlivens him will also be relatively wild, undisciplined, bonkers, chaotic, prone to changing her mind and lying. Still, from an energetic perspective, this kind of woman will be much more healing and inspiring to him than a more balanced or neutral woman who is steady, reasonable, trustworthy, and able to say what she means in a way he can understand. You have probably met a woman who seemed fantastic, only to discover she has some emotional weirdness that you don't really want to deal with. She seemed incredibly sexy, but also a bit bonkers or crazy, saying one thing one moment and another the next. You have probably also met some very reasonable and trustworthy women who don't seem to constantly change their mind and, in fact, with whom you could have good conversations that don't end up frustrating you. Although you may love these women and enjoy spending time with them, they don't arouse your passion as much as the women whose words you wouldn't trust to remain true for an afternoon, but who move their body in a way that drives you wild. Why can't a woman be more like a man? Many men have wondered. But, of course, it is precisely those ways in which a woman is least like a man that most attract you sexually, if you have a masculine sexual essence. A woman's feminine shine, the energy that moves her body, her utterly refreshing spontaneity and mystery, not to mention her delightful smile, are what attract you. And the more feminine a woman is at her core, the less she is likely to evidence strong masculine traits, such as speaking clearly and unequivocally about thoughts and desires, rather than primarily expressing her feelings of the moment. A woman with a more feminine sexual essence will say she loves you one moment, and then, when you have done something you are not even aware of, she will say she hates you. This is the beauty of the feminine. To her, the masculine grid of words and events is less relevant than the fluidity of relationship and feeling. Thank God for such women, who make no apologies for their oceanic depth and riptides of emotion. You are always attracted to your sexual reciprocal, so if you have a more feminine sexual essence, you will be attracted to a more masculine woman. You have probably seen men and women in couples like this. The man is more radiant and lively than the woman. The woman is more committed to her direction in life than the man. The relationship is more important to the man, whereas the woman likes to be left alone much of the time. These are signs of a relationship where the man has a more feminine essence and the woman's essence is more masculine. Other men with more neutral sexual essences prefer women who are also more neutral, neither particularly masculine nor feminine. This kind of couple can talk about anything, and they like talking about everything. They share hobbies, friends, even career goals. Though equally loving, this kind of couple is usually less sexually passionate than highly polarized couples. It would be unusual to hear about this kind of neutral or balanced couple yelling at each other, throwing pillows, wrestling each other down to the floor, and passionately making love right there and then. Through lack of understanding, you might have depolarized yourself and your partner into a relationship that seems neutral, but actually isn't. Only about 10% of couples are actually the neutral or balanced type in their true essence. Another 10% of couples are made up of a feminine man and a masculine woman. But if you are like 80% of couples, you have a masculine sexual essence and your woman has a feminine one. That is, her feminine wave frustrates you, drives you crazy, inspires you, or turns you on, more often than she is simply your sexually neutral buddy. The false neutralization or depolarization of relationships is one of the main reasons that couples break up. The rejuvenative charge of sexual loving becomes weak, while all the things that irritate you and your partner remain just as strong as ever. The secret is not to try to change your woman's irritating feminine ways, but to help cultivate the depth and rejuvenative power of her feminine blessings.
I ain't seen you in a minute.
If you are like most men, you have probably minimized your appreciation of the full spectrum of your woman's feminine energy by numbing yourself to the aspects that most irritate you. For instance, she doesn't drive you crazy anymore because you've learned to not take her too seriously. Perhaps you have learned to seem attentive while not really listening to her endless chat. Or maybe you have learned to give her a daily dose of affection as a way to quell her ongoing need for more intimate time than you really want to spend with her. That is the wrong approach. The feminine is an infinite source of love, inspiration, and power, both physically and spiritually. Feminine women are connected with the elements of nature in ways that more masculine people, such as yourself, usually aren't. Feminine women may seem wild, untrustable, or even irresponsible from a man's perspective, but women are simply free of the masculine need to live in a world governed by reason and control. Feminine women are free to feel flows of natural livingness that you are unable to feel. They are free to be moved by currents of energy of which most men are unaware. They are free to allow their bodies to be transparent to the flow of their hearts, uncontrolled and undirected by goals and structure. The feminine body is free to be moved by love and by life itself. And this is highly valued by most men. To behold a woman free in her expression of bodily ecstasy is one of the most awesome visions most men have had. Men will even pay to watch a woman's body express ecstasy, even if she is only faking it, like in a porn movie. In our secular culture, most men are only familiar with sexual ecstasy, and so it is this form of free bodily expression that men pay to see, in movies, on the stage, and in private rooms around the world. However, in cultures that admit a greater degree of spiritual revelation, women's bodies are viewed with the same masculine awe, but for a different kind of expression, not merely for their capacity to express sexual ecstasy in a way that is foreign and unbelievably attractive, but also for their capacity to express spiritual ecstasy. Temple dancers in India, for instance, are traditionally feminine women trained from an early age to combine skill and heartfelt devotion in a style of dance which frees their bodies to be moved by divine force, bringing tears to many men's eyes and openness to their hearts. A woman who is at home with her feminine essence is at home with energy, be it sexual or spiritual. For such a woman, there is no disconnection between sex and spirit. Her sexual surrender, if she is with a worthy man, is the same as her devotional or spiritual surrender. She opens from head to toe, receiving divine love force deep throughout her body so that she is rippled, arched, and undulated by its boundless flow. More masculine or neutral women are less likely to allow such freedom of bodily expression. Yet it is a woman's expression of this kind of ecstasy that invites a masculine man to leave his heady world of thoughts and goals and celebrate the moment, in the flesh, through the heart. Whether in a strip joint or a sacred temple, men have been attracted for thousands of years to witness the feminine embodiment of ecstasy. Women are literally worshipped in such occasions. Men shout their praises to the goddess dancing before them in ways they would never do in public. The fullest of such occasions is completely sexual and completely spiritual at the same time. Men leave such an event transformed and inspired by the blessing power of free feminine embodiment. This is one of the unique gifts of the feminine form of woman. This is what you get in a woman with a feminine sexual essence. A woman who is all over the place emotionally. A woman whom you can depend on to change her mind. A woman who is much more sensitive than you are to the flow of subtle energies in your relationship. A woman who brings you delight and awe in the ecstasy, both sexual and spiritual, that her body expresses so freely and beautifully. It is all one package. You can't have a woman who is always logically consistent, reasonable, and on time, and who also fills your heart and flesh with energy instantly and throughout the day, with her bodily expressed love and ecstasy. She can animate reasonable masculine energy when she wants, but if she has a feminine core, much of the time she will want to dance in wrathful anger or enchanting joy beyond the need for reason. So choose a woman who is your complementary opposite, which for most men means a more feminine woman. It is only a feminine woman who can give the gifts that you, as a masculine man, need. Along with these gifts, however, come the relative chaos and emotional weather storms that most men dread. Realize these are aspects of the same energy that turns you on. In fact, you can learn to be turned on by her dance of anger as much as by her slinky purr. This capacity is one of your gifts to her. You can learn to stand free and strong no matter what emotion she displays. You won't leave, turn away, or disassociate in disgust. You can meet her enormous energy and stand full, loving her through the storm, embracing her complete feminine power, dark and light. You will only be happy in intimacy if you choose a woman who is your sexual reciprocal as a partner. And you will only be able to survive such an intimacy if her dark and light sides are equally embraceable to you. It takes time to develop such skills and strength, but in doing so, you learn to provide your woman, as well as the world, with a man whose gifts are uncompromised by fear of feminine power and chaos. Chapter 25. Know what is important in your woman. The feminine is the force of life. The more masculine a man is, the more his woman's feminine energy, as opposed to other qualities, will be important to him. If you are looking for a woman business partner, you probably want certain qualities in her, such as financial acumen, dependability, and the capacity to persist in the face of difficulties in order to achieve a goal. If you are looking for a woman friend, you probably want honesty, compassion, humor, and respect. If you are looking for a consort, you probably want a woman who freely embodies and expresses feminine energy and love. The more you seek a woman who gives you everything, the less you get of anything. Business skills are, for the most part, masculine skills in both men and women. Friendship in itself is a neutral, non-sexual matter, and sexual passion requires a clear polarity between your masculine core and your woman's feminine energy. When you don't prioritize the purpose of your relationship, these different energies often cancel each other out, and you are left with a sexually neutralized alliance. You can share many aspects of intimacy, business, friendship, partnering, and sexual passion only if you choose a single priority to the relationship and allow all the other activities to align themselves around your main purpose for being together. If you aren't clear about what's important, though, each aspect will conflict with the others. She will want affection when you want to get business done. She will want to talk about her day when you want to have sex. You will both end up compromising your true desires, and your relationship will be reduced to a functional but mediocre partnership. Over time, sexual polarity and attraction will diminish. You will begin eyeing other women as sources of rejuvenative feminine delight. The same delight you have smeared out in your intimacy by obliging your woman to be everything for you, all blurred together. Your business partner one moment, your friend another moment, a mother at this moment, and your lover the next. Eventually, the deep gifts that brought you together to begin with become lost in the ambiguity of your relationship. In other times and cultures, you might have had multiple intimate partners, each fulfilling a different purpose, each partner contributing different skills, functions, and sexual energies to the whole. In our modern world, however, polygamy is not much of an option. For social and psychological reasons, most men and women of today want to limit their intimate scope to one committed partner at a time. Although, if you are like most men, you've certainly entertained the notion of multiple wives, or at least a mistress or two, each fulfilling a different purpose. Because you expect your intimate relationship to serve so many purposes, it begins to veer toward the utilitarian. By constantly talking about finances, work, household, and children, you turn your woman into a neutral companion. You become so familiar with each other that the mystery of sexual enchantment becomes standardized into the ritual mechanics of kiss, stroke, lick, pump, spurt, and snore. You begin to long for the depth of desire you once felt with your woman. Domesticity replaces mystery, and talk replaces tumble. Yet, if you have a strong masculine sexual essence, you will need frequent refreshment by the power of strong feminine energy, or else you will begin to feel weary and burdened by life. You may seek this rejuvenative feminine energy in a few beers, a few rounds of golf, or a few girly magazines. Or perhaps you favor long massages and walks on the beach. Although these and many other means can temporarily relax you and put a smile on your face, few of them can arouse you as deeply in heart and body as the uncompromised force of feminine sexuality offered by your radiant woman in love. You are the only one who can decide what is important to you in your relationship. You are the only one who can clarify for yourself what the purpose of your intimacy is. If you decide, however, that the purpose of your intimacy is the passionate transmission of love, the rejuvenative healing of sexual energy, and the cultivation of heart through your mutual commitment to spiritual awakening, then be careful. Don't force your woman to be your on-call accountant. Don't expect her to always help you with your financial problems, like a career consultant. Don't emphasize the daily chores while disregarding the bodily transmission of love for days and days. Don't squash the fullness of her feminine energy into merely functional roles. Your woman has the capacity to awaken your heart and fill your body with life. You, however, must give her the opportunity, as well as the fullness of your masculine transmission of love. If you want your woman to be your spiritual and sexual consort, not just your housemate, you must skillfully maintain your household and livelihoods so that the potency of your union is not diminished. She can be the mother of your children as well as your business partner, as long as these functions do not cut into the primacy of your purpose, to serve one another's enlightenment through your unwavering commitment to love, and to enliven one another's core by the bodily transmission of love via sexual polarity. When these two aspects of your loving, spiritual awakening and sexual transmission, become diminished by your daily duties, you will both begin to seek elsewhere for daily refreshment and fulfillment. You will seek feminine energy in the form of a six-pack or a mistress. Your woman will seek masculine direction in the form of a social cause or a masculine-style career. Your relationship will become relegated to a well-meaning partnership of domestic duty. This may be exactly what you want, or it may not be. In any case, you must know what is important for you. What is the purpose of your intimacy, and align all other activities around this central priority, if you want your intimacy to maintain and increase its potency for both of you. Chapter 26. You will often want more than one woman. A man with a masculine sexual essence will desire sexual variety. Even if he loves his intimate partner and is completely committed to her, he will naturally want sexual occasions with other women, besides his chosen intimate partner. How a man deals with his desire for other women is up to him. He should know, however, that there is no way to avoid such desires. He should also know that acting on such desires, though temporarily enlivening and exhilarating, often ends up complicating his life far more than the occasion itself is worth. Even if you are totally committed to your intimate partner in love, you probably think about having sex with other women. Even if you are totally fulfilled by the sex you share with your woman, you probably still desire sex with other women. Your desire for other women is not a reflection of any lack in your intimacy. It is a reflection of your nature as a masculine sexual being. But this desire is not a...
That's why you gotta always be open and honest with your partner. Like before, I told my wife like I'm interested in polygamy. Like so, it wasn't no coincidence. Like she always knew. She knew it before I even like was open like to the. Before I even knew what polygamy was, I just knew like I liked the multiple women. But she knew what I was into. Like so, I don't fucking though. Like I don't have to go have sex with every woman though. Like that's what I don't. I don't do that. Like it don't matter who it is. Like I'm not even about to like ruin my relationship over like, a one night stand or whatever type of fling. Like if it ain't no spiritual connection, we don't have no spiritual connection at all. It ain't gonna work. Period. Like so.
Excuse for promiscuity, any more than your enjoyment of TV is an excuse for becoming an obese couch potato. Desire springs from many sources, such as your addictions, your biological heritage, your childhood conditioning, and your open heart. To live a life of impeccable integrity, you must discriminate the source of your desire, so you know when to discipline your behavior for everyone's benefit, including yours. The fact is, you probably want to have sex with other women besides your intimate partner. How you respond to this fact is a reflection of your purpose in life. If your purpose is to enjoy physical pleasure, no matter the consequences, then you should screw as many women as you want. If your purpose is to be a nice boy and please mommy, then you should do what makes your woman happy. If your purpose is to liberate yourself and others into love and freedom, then you should do whatever magnifies the love and freedom in your life and in the lives of those whom your actions affect. It's your call. Just remember that self-discipline is not self-suppression. Suppression is when you resist and fight against your desires, keeping them as buried and unexpressed as possible. Self-discipline is when your highest desires rule your lesser desires, not through resistance, but through loving action grounded in understanding and compassion. How many women you have sex with is your business. Before you consider more than one, however, it is best to prove your capacity with one. If you can't handle one, if deep communion, rejuvenating passion, and spiritual happiness are not the main features of your present intimacy, then you have not passed the test, and it is best to discipline your desire for other partners, since nobody is likely to be served. Chapter 27. Young women offer you a special energy. In general, youth in a woman bespeaks radiant, unobstructed, and refreshing feminine energy. A young woman tends to be less compromised by masculine layers of functional protection built up over years of need. Traditionally, young women were understood to offer a man a particularly rejuvenative quality of energy. Older women may maintain or even increase the freshness and radiance of their energy, but it is rare. Imagine you are driving your 18-year-old babysitter home one evening. She is so fresh, so innocent, so alive. You can feel that she is totally open to you. You consider all the consequences. You look at her radiant skin, her clear eyes, her incredible smile. The way she moves, talks, and laughs makes you happy and fills you with energy. You arrive at her home. She says goodnight, leaves the car, and enters her house. You sit in the car for a moment, breathing slowly and deeply, smiling. There is something unique about being with a young woman, and all men with masculine sexual essences feel it. You feel rejuvenated by her. Just sitting next to a young woman can make you happy and fill you with life force. You might have nothing in common, but that doesn't matter. It is her energy that delights and inspires you. Uncompromised, youthful, feminine energy turns you on and opens your heart. You actually feel happier around young women. You feel more energetic, alive, and loving. As women get older, they typically take on more and more masculine tasks and responsibilities in our culture, so their radiance begins to decrease. In other cultures, this is less true. Women maintain and even deepen their radiance. But even in these cultures, with more wisdom, it is understood that young women provide a special energy that is fresh, uncompromised, and enlivening. Our culture reduces this useful energy to a sexual thing, whereas it is actually a whole body transmission of energy, affecting the heart as much as or more than the genitals. In other cultures, young women were honored for their gifts of spiritual rejuvenation, tending to holy sites and performing sacred arts, not just ogled for sexual titillation. As a man, it is your responsibility to honor the heart rejuvenative gift of a young woman without violating this honor by imposing your sexual desire on her. If sexual desires arise, fine. Circulate it through your body, Learn to conduct the
Yeah,
magnification of
hey,
desire without needing to
for
throw it
sure.
off in a spasm of
I
release.
need to get a physical
A
copy
major part
myself.
of mastering sexuality is learning to sustain greater and greater degrees of pleasure and desire in the
You don't
body
roll yet.
without needing to rid
So you
yourself of
is
the
you
force
good?
because
Like
you
no
can't
one roll
handle it.
yet? You following along in the
When
book?
you find yourself really enlivened by a young woman, breathe in her fragrance, breathe in her energy, relax your body and allow your heart to open in her presence. Take in her beauty through every pore in your body. Allow love to radiate from your heart toward her. Maintain a respectful formality so that she is free and empowered to give her gift without being complicated by your personal agenda. Use the energy she has given you in your own service to others, passing the gift of heightened aliveness and passionate heart into all of your relationships, so that all beings may benefit by the delight
All
you
right,
have
cool.
received from this woman, who, for now, manifests the youthful gifts of uncompromised radiance and life force. Chapter 28. Each woman has a temperature that can heal or irritate you. Some women are hotter, some are cooler. In general, blonde, light-skinned, Japanese, and Chinese women are cooler. Dark-skinned, brunette, red-headed, Korean, and Polynesian women are hotter. Even though a man might choose to remain in a committed intimacy with one woman, his needs for different temperatures of feminine energy may change over time. A hot woman who aroused his passion several years ago may irritate him now. A cooler woman who soothed his heart several years ago may seem tiresome to him now. By understanding how different temperatures of feminine energy may affect him, a man could make more skillful life choices without confusion. You probably have certain tastes in women. You might prefer blondes or Asian women, or perhaps you have a special preference for redheads. Your tastes come from many sources: your early childhood experience, cultural influence, and perhaps even your genetics. But one aspect of taste has to do with how a woman affects you with her energetics. Some women are cooling. Being in their company feels like a cool drink of iced tea on a hot sunny day. You might have referred to a woman, for instance, who is an icy blonde, or who has cool blue eyes. Other women are hot. They are fiery, tempestuous, and quick of temper. You might have spoken of a fiery redhead or a hot-blooded Latina. Of course, not all redheads or Latinas are hot. Not all blondes are cool. Nevertheless, there is something true enough to be said about a woman's temperature. Most men have a good intuitive sense of the difference between a woman who is cool and soothing and a woman who is hot and exciting, regardless of how they describe it. And this difference has a lot to do with why men have different tastes for women and why your taste could change over time. More than simple psychological preference determines your taste. Energy plays a major role. Sometimes you can be with a beautiful woman who just doesn't do it for you. You can see she is beautiful. You can understand why your friends find her attractive, but she just doesn't suit your taste. Different women offer different kinds of feminine energy. And one of the simplest forms of this difference is the difference between hot and cool feminine energy. To help understand this, you could look at your relationship with food. Some men thrive on hot Mexican peppers or spicy Szechuan food, while other men are healed by soothing and cooling food like salads, sweets, or milk. And any man's need for different kinds of food may change over time. The same is true of his needs for feminine energy. If you are a particularly easygoing man, perhaps a man who has difficulty getting motivated, then a hot woman is probably better for you. Her fiery nature can heat up your system and get you moving. On the other hand, if you tend to be quick-tempered and hot yourself, you might find that a more cooling woman heals you and brings a balance to your whole body and psyche. Depending on your health, your lifestyle, your work demands, and your emotional state, you may need different types of energy at different times. The important thing is to know there is a difference so that you can be conscious of the choice you are making and how it might affect you. You may begin to doubt your current intimate relationship if you don't understand how your needs for feminine energy change. When your life seems dreary and boring, a more spicy and hot woman will probably appeal to you. She will provide you with the fire you are missing. However, when your life is extremely challenging and you feel burnt out, a hot woman might be too much. You may be more attracted to the soothing gaze and touch of a cool woman. Imagine you are married to a hot woman. For years you have enjoyed her passion, been amused by her anger, and been delighted by how quickly she responds sexually. Then your career takes a turn. You begin working with people all day under a tight deadline. You are dealing with people's emotions and resistance 50 hours a week. You notice that you are sweating most of the day. You are under the gun. Your life has become quite hot, as if you are eager to get it on. You feel like relaxing. You tell her you need a few minutes to take it easy, so she changes into her workout clothes and goes to the spa to flex and pump her supple body. Meanwhile, her best friend comes to visit. You open the door and invite her in the house. She moves so much more slowly than your wife. Her presence seems soothing and relaxing to you, even though she's not the kind of woman you are usually attracted to. The quality of this woman's voice seems so refreshing. She sees you are tired, and because she's known you for years, she asks if she can rub your shoulders. She puts her hands on your shoulders, and before she begins to gently massage you, you feel waves of cool, rejuvenating energy pour into your body. You sigh with relief. After a brief massage, she says goodbye. She'll come back and visit your wife another day. Your wife comes back home full of energy, and she begins bouncing around the house taking care of things. She yells at you for not telling her friend to stay and wait. Then, seeing your fatigue, she apologizes and begins kissing you passionately. Her hands quickly go to your crotch, but you're still thinking about her friend, remembering how refreshing her energy was, wondering what the heck you are going to do about it. What you should do about it is this. Understand what is happening. You used to really enjoy your wife's spicy temperament, but now that you are boiling all day at work, you need to be balanced by a cooler energy. This doesn't mean you need to end your marriage. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to have sex with her cool friend. What it means is that you need to find a way to balance your life. You can change your diet to a more cooling diet. You can keep your body cooler, wearing caps on sunny days and wearing lighter, more breathable clothing. You can take soothing walks around lakes or along rivers and let the water absorb the heat of your day.
How do you explain that to your woman? Like, if she's a cool woman, and like, just what he said, it comes down to you needing a hot woman to like motivate you, spice up your life. Like, how do you let your woman know, like, shit? Because usually men, they just go off sexually. They don't understand energy. Like, so they wouldn't understand it was between a hot and a cool woman. They just know, like, hey, I got this feeling, these feelings, and then these urges. So, but as a man being open, like, shit, I wouldn't, like, if I didn't listen to this book, I wouldn't even be aware be aware of, like, the hot and cool women. That wouldn't even reckon, wouldn't even, I don't know. But now it's making a lot more sense for me, like, and the reason why I'm into polygamy. Like, because it's not like my wife, I love my wife, of course, I tell her all the time, like, you don't know what you mean to me, but at the same time, my wife is a cool person. Like, so she's more calm and soothing, loving, like, but sometimes you need that fire to, like, motivate you and, like, make you get up and, like, give you that extra energy, like, so. I don't know. I don't know if my wife listening right now, but if she is, she probably like, shut the fuck up and play the book.
Or you can receive cooling energy directly from a woman, even non-sexually. You could get a professional massage, for instance, from a woman with cooling energy. Sometimes, all you need to do is spend a little time in the same room with a cool woman. In any case, it is important to realize that your needs for different kinds of energy will change throughout your life. It's something that you will need to learn how to deal with. It's important that, in the meantime, you don't mistake a changing energy need for a reason to end your marriage. It's also important to know that you can receive energy from different women in entirely non-sexual ways if you so choose. In the end, you must make your own choice. When one man's energy needs change and he finds himself getting the energy he needs from the woman in the office next door, the kind of energy that he isn't getting from his wife, then he might end up having an affair or getting divorced. Another man might communicate his changing energy needs to his wife. Then find that she is more able to creatively provide him with the flavor of feminine energy that most heals and rejuvenates him. Don't confuse your energy needs with a commitment in love, though. Energy needs are relatively easy to balance. You can probably get the energy you need from a masseuse or a change in diet. If you react drastically and decide to leave your wife for a woman whose energy enlivens you more, you may be surprised when in a few months your energy needs change again, and you realize that you have made a very superficial choice.
Yep, I made that.
You must decide for yourself how to deal with your need for the particular feminine energy that fills your body with life, heals your rough edges, and soothes your warrior spirit. But energetic rejuvenation won't make any fundamental difference unless, at your core, your heart is growing more free, open, and loving. A cool glass of fruit juice, a vacation in Hawaii, or a redhead may temporarily balance your physiology, but only persistent commitment to the practice of love can take you through your fears, through your sense of separateness, and bring you to the absolute ease of being that is your deepest truth. Remember your priority and decide what you need to do. Part 4. What Women Really Want. Chapter 29. Choose a woman who chooses you. If a man wants a woman who doesn't want him, he cannot win. His neediness will undermine any possible relationship, and his woman will never be able to trust him. A man must determine whether a woman really wants him but is playing hard to get, or whether she really doesn't want him. If she doesn't want him, he should immediately cease pursuing her and deal with his pain by himself. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you want to be with a woman, but she doesn't want to be with you, you must speak with your friends. Ask them to be honest with you. Ask them if they think this woman really does want to be with you, or if she really doesn't. If your friends honestly tell you that this woman doesn't want to be with you, it's over. You cannot enjoy a good relationship with her, even if she changes her mind. Once she feels your neediness, once she feels that you need her more than she needs you, she will never trust your masculine core. The priority of the masculine core is mission, purpose, or direction in life. The priority of the feminine core is the flow of love and intimacy. If a woman feels your feminine is stronger than hers, if she feels that the intimacy is more important to you than to her, then she will naturally animate her masculine. She will want space, she will want freedom to pursue her own direction, and she will be repulsed by your clinginess. You are only punishing yourself when you want to be in a relationship with a woman more than she wants to be in a relationship with you. Of course, you must discriminate between whether she is playing hard to get or whether she is genuinely less interested in the relationship than you. This is why you should ask your friends, and even her friends. If it turns out that she really doesn't want to be with you as much as you want to be with her, then it is time to realize the relationship won't work. In such a case, the poles have become reversed, with your feminine desire for love meeting her masculine desire for freedom. This is not viable grounds for intimacy between a man with a masculine essence and a woman with a feminine essence. It is better to move on and work with your hurt than it is to continue demonstrating that your feminine desire is stronger than hers. Chapter 30. What she wants is not what she says. Sometimes a woman will make a request of her man in plain English, not to get him to do something, but to see if he is so weak that he will do it. In other words, she is testing his capacity to do what is right, not what she is asking for. In such cases, if the man does what his woman asks, she will be disappointed and angry. The man will have no idea why she is so angry or what could possibly please her. He must remember that her trust is engendered not by him fulfilling her requests, but by him magnifying love, consciousness, and success in their lives, in spite of her requests. This is a true story. A somewhat quiet and sensitive man was learning sexual yoga. In this yoga, it is important to learn to bypass ejaculation, circulating the stimulated energy through the body and heart in a kind of whole body orgasm, rather than losing energy in a spasm of ejaculative release. He was also learning to express his animal-like passion instead of always remaining calm and passive during sex. One day, this man and his wife were driving in their car. Passing a park, they spontaneously decided to stop the car, run into the woods, and make wild love on the grass beneath the trees. Neither of them had even made love outdoors before. Here they were, clawing at each other, growling, shrieking, passionately aggressive with one another. It was a real breakthrough for them. Suddenly, the man realized he would ejaculate unless they slowed down for a few seconds. "Stop moving for a bit," he told his wife. "If we keep going like this, I'm gonna come." But the woman kept moving, even more vigorously. "I want you to come inside of me," she begged. "I want you to fill me with your seed." The man had a split second to decide which way he was going to go, and he decided to let go and give his woman her wish. He ejaculated inside of her and relaxed. But when he looked at his wife's face, she was clearly upset. "What's wrong?" he asked her. "You came," she answered. "But you said you wanted me to fill you with my seed, didn't you?" "Yes, but I said that in order to feel that you were strong enough not to." The man felt depleted and empty. He felt he had failed in his practice of sexual yoga. He knew that ejaculating had not been the right thing to do in the moment, but he had succumbed to his wife's wish. Now she was disappointed. When she said to fill her with his seed, she really wanted to feel that he was strong enough to maintain what he knew was right, and not ejaculate. That would have been much more erotic to her, more polarizing, and more trust-producing than his obedience to her request to ejaculate. Your woman probably tests you in this way all the time. Her ultimate desire is to feel your full consciousness, your trustable integrity, your unshakable love, and your confidence in your mission. Yet she will rarely ask you directly for these things. She would rather try to distract you from your truth, and then feel that she cannot, that you hold fast to your truth while you continue to love her. If you are a weak man, this feminine trait of wanting one thing and asking for another will piss you off. You will wonder, why don't you just tell me what you really want, instead of saying one thing and meaning another, expecting me to figure it out? This is the view of a man who does not understand that women are an incarnation of the divine feminine, and the divine feminine settles for nothing less than the divine masculine. The divine masculine is consciousness. A superior man practices maintaining full consciousness in all situations. If ejaculation results in a decrease in your fullness, a diminution of your presence, a collapse of your consciousness, then you should not ejaculate. Even if your woman says she wants you to, especially when your woman says she wants you to. Your woman will ask you to do all kinds of things, every day. Do not allow yourself to be swayed from your truth, from the direction of your heart. Underneath your woman's superficial request is her actual desire and need. She wants your passionate fullness to pervade her. She wants to be able to trust the unshakability of your loving. She wants to feel in her bones that your divine masculine presence is stronger than your distractibility. Your woman is a form of the goddess, taunting you, testing you, seducing you, ready to chop off your head with her wrath if you are weak and ambiguous in your truth, and ready to surrender to the force of your loving if you are steady and brilliant in your loving consciousness. Know that your woman is always pleased most by your strength in love, freedom, and consciousness. If her requests and desires can sway you from what she knows is your highest goal, she will be angry and disappointed with you, even though she asked for it. Always act to maintain your fullest consciousness. Always apply your sword of discrimination to your woman's requests, never taking them at face value, but always checking with your deepest wisdom and following the road of your highest truth, even if it seems to mean disappointing your woman. She won't be disappointed if she feels you are strong and clear in the true direction of your heart. And if she is disappointed by your deepest truth, you shouldn't be with her. Chapter 31. Her complaint is content-free. Women are always wanting divine masculine presence in a man, regardless of their specific complaint or mood. A man should hear his woman's complaints like warning bells, and then do his best to align his life with his truth and purpose. However, If he believes in the literal contents of her complaint, he will immediately go off course, for the contents reflects her present mood more than a careful observation of his tendencies over time. Her complaint should be valued as a reminder to get it together, and perhaps as an indication as to how. But more often than not, the specifics of her complaint do not describe the real underlying action or tendency that needs to be changed. Your woman says, "How can you spend so much time in front of the TV when our rent is due in a few days? We're behind on car payments, and you just lost your job." "Don't worry about it. I have a job interview tomorrow." "Well, why don't you get off your butt? You said you were going to clean out the garage weeks ago. I can hardly get to the car." Okay, I'll clean the garage this afternoon." Your woman stops talking and goes about her business, but you can feel her simmering anger and tension. You don't like to be around her when she's like this. You want to get out of the house. "I'll be back in a few hours and I'll clean the garage," you say as you grab your coat and head for the door. You hear a glass break in the kitchen, so you go in and find your wife furious. "I can't take this anymore," she wails. "What? I said I'd clean the garage. What's going on?" you wonder. "I just can't take it," she cries out, pulling away from you, closing up and not letting you touch her. "I don't get it. I said I'd clean the garage. I have a job interview tomorrow. Everything is going to be fine. What do you want?" You've probably had some version of this conversation with your woman. It holds a key to masculine growth and freedom, and it reveals a common mistake men make with their women. The thing your woman is complaining about is rarely the thing she is complaining about. It is a mistake to believe the content of what she is saying, and then respond to her complaints point by point. When she complains about financial issues, she is usually feeling a lack in your masculine capacity to direct your life with clarity, purpose, integrity, and wisdom. The money itself is secondary. If you are poor but totally conscious, happy, full of integrity, fearless, humorous, loving, and giving your fullest gift to the world and to your woman, she wouldn't complain about lack of money. When you say you will clean the garage and then weeks pass and you haven't, her complaint isn't really about the garage. Sure, she'd like a clean garage, but this is a superficial issue. The deeper issue is that you didn't do what you said you would. You gave her your word and you didn't follow through. She can't trust what you say, and this hurts her deeply. She might seem to be overreacting to you. Why is she so hysterical? It's only a garage. But she can feel your lack of integrity. Not having cleaned the garage yet seems like a small thing to you, but it shows you don't follow through with your word, with your purpose. Your word is a demonstration of your purpose, of your masculine core. When you don't follow through with what you say you are going to do, she feels that your masculine core is weak. She feels let down. She can't trust your masculine direction, and so she feels a great loss. Over time, she will begin to build up her own masculine protection against your lack of integrity. She will begin to guard herself against the hurt that your lack of carry-through causes. She will harden herself, becoming angular and tense. To you, the garage seems trivial. To her, you have failed at your word. She can't trust you. It's very much as if your woman were to become slovenly. The core of the feminine is energy or radiance. If she stops taking care of herself, if she becomes dull and drab, always tired and worn out, then she is unable to give you the feminine energy you desire in intimacy. You might still love her, but you will begin to look elsewhere for feminine energy. At the level of polarity, you are attracted to and enlivened by her feminine radiance. Likewise, at the level of polarity, she is attracted to and relaxed by your masculine clarity, direction, integrity, and presence. When she complains about you watching TV, it is usually more a complaint about your whole life, your lack of persistence and clarity. If your woman felt you were living totally in your clarity of purpose, if she felt you totally present with her when you chose to be with her, then you said, "I'm going to relax and watch TV for half an hour." It would be fine. It's not the TV watching itself that really bothers her, although that is what she'll talk about. You must listen to your woman more as an oracle than an advisor. She usually is speaking in a very tangential but revelatory style. She is revealing your unconscious habits that prevent your fullest awakening in consciousness. Your unconsciousness causes her pain. She won't say it that way, but that's what she is indicating. Don't argue with her about the garage and the job interview. That's not what she's talking about, even though that's what she's talking about. Hear her complaint as the universe giving you signs about your life. Is watching TV right now the best way to use the moment? Sometimes you need the recreation, but sometimes you are just being lazy, trying to forget the responsibilities you have created in your life. Did you purposely lie to your woman about cleaning the garage? Or did you just let it slide, like you do with so many commitments you make in your life? Can you really blame your woman for being hurt by the lack of integrity that shows in your life? If she can't trust you with living your life from your deepest wisdom and fullest capacity, she can't trust you with her life. She can't trust your masculine impeccability, so she naturally will compensate by overdeveloping her own. She is not only being masculine for herself, now she's being masculine for you. If she's got to remind you of the job interview or the mess in the garage, she's supplying the masculine direction for the both of you. And this results in stress. Her body will begin to show it. She will become less radiant and less relaxed in her feminine power and glory because she has to compensate for your failure. The bags under your woman's eyes and the lines in her face may reveal much about how clearly you are living your highest purpose. Of course, your woman has her own unconscious habits to outgrow, but sometimes she is reflecting yours. Try to do your best to determine which of her problems are actually exquisitely sensitive bodily feedback to the way you are living your life. You know the amount of bullshit you are kidding yourself with. So does she. It just hurts her more than it does you. Chapter 32. She doesn't really want to be number one. A woman sometimes seems she wants to be the most important thing in her man's life. However, if she is the most important thing, then she feels her man has made her the number one priority and is not fully dedicated or directed to divine growth and service. She will feel her man's dependence on her for his happiness, and this will make her feel smothered by his neediness and clinging. A woman really wants her man to be totally dedicated to his highest purpose, and also to love her fully. Although she would never admit it, she wants to feel that her man would be willing to sacrifice their relationship for the sake of his highest purpose. Imagine that a man must go off to war. He hugs his woman goodbye. She is crying. "Please don't go," she begs. "You know that I must," he answers. They look each other deeply in the eyes. "You know that I love you," he says to her. "Yes, I know, and I also know you must go," she replies, and another gush of tears burst from her heartbroken face. He turns and walks out the door to his necessary destiny, as his woman, full of pain and pride, watches him disappear. This exaggerately dramatic scene captures a profound energetic principle. Although your woman seems to want to be the most important thing in your life, she actually can trust and love you more if she is not. A man's highest purpose is his priority, not his intimacy. Your woman knows this. Deep inside, she really wants it to be this way. The woman in the scene above would actually feel strange if her man suddenly said, "I've changed my mind. You are more important to me than the freedom of mankind. You are the most important thing in my life, and I don't care if my service to humanity is needed elsewhere, so I'm staying here with you." Even though part of her would feel glad, a deeper part of her would feel deflated, emptied, let down. And yet, as her man leaves the door to accomplish his mission, she cries, wishing he didn't have to go. But he does have to go, and she knows it. If a woman has become the point of your life, you are lost. You have a gift to give, a purpose to fulfill, a deep heart impulse that moves you. If you have lost touch with this impulse, then you will begin to feel ambiguous in your life. You will make decisions because you have to, but they won't be guided by a deeper sense of purpose. You may take on your woman's purpose because they are stronger than yours. You may adapt your need for direction to externally regulated purposes, becoming a cogwheel company man or a dead-ended husband and parent, without leaving yourself open to your own greatest vision. Be careful not to substitute default responsibilities for true purpose. It is easy to fill your day with chores and obligations, coming up for air only long enough to watch some TV or have quick sex. It's also easy to give up entirely on living a life of absolute commitment to truth, settling for the common life of absolute commitment to work, family, intimacy, and friends. Yet you can only be a superior professional, father, husband, and friend when you are living these relationships as gifts given from your core, not as what's left over because you don't have the guts to discover your core impulse and live on its basis. If you aren't living from your core, giving your fullest gifts, everyone will feel your lack of true purpose. Your kids will challenge your authority. Your colleagues will take advantage of you. Your friends won't expect much of you, and your wife won't trust you. Even though she may seem to want to be the center of your life, she doesn't. She wants you to know the center of your life, however, so she can trust you. Even if you must go off somewhere without her to fulfill your purpose, like a man going to war, she will be able to trust you and love you as long as your purpose is real and true. If you are always watching TV, reading magazines, or gambling, your woman will feel your trivialization of life. She will feel you settling for less and will resent the frivolity of your will. But if you have discovered the purpose springing from your deepest core, and if your entire life is aligned by this deep purpose, your woman will feel the truth of your choices. Though she may not always like your choices, she will love them, and she will love you for having the courage to live your truth. She can relax and trust you because even if you are enjoying watching TV, reading magazines, and gambling now and then, she knows that you would never compromise your highest purpose in life, which includes, but is not centered nor dependent on, your relationship with her. Chapter 33. Your excellent track record is meaningless to her. A man's track record means nothing to the feminine. A man could be perfect for 10 years, but if he's an asshole for 30 seconds, his woman acts like he's always been one. The feminine responds to the moment of energy, forgetting her man's history of past behavior. A man's past behavior is irrelevant to his woman's feeling in the moment. But men base much on another man's history of behavior, so they think their own track record should count for something, but to a woman, it doesn't. It's been a tough and late day at work. You finally come home and your woman is upset. You forgot that you were supposed to have dinner with another couple that night, and the time has passed. Your woman is furious. I'm sorry I'm late, but this was an unusual day, you say. I haven't worked late for months, but I had to today. You probably can't even remember the last time I forgot a date together we had planned. I hardly ever forget those kinds of things. Well, you did today, and that's what counts. There is no use trying to mitigate her anger by referring to your great track record. To the feminine, history is irrelevant. What counts is the feeling in the moment. If you let her down now, it doesn't matter that you haven't let her down for months or even years. Your past successes mean nothing to her present feeling of your failure. For you as a man, it is probably easier to forgive and forget an occasional mistake made by another man who has a great track record. What pisses you off is when a man lacks integrity and continually fails at his word. But even big mistakes are fairly easy to let go of when made by a man who is otherwise impeccable. You know he really does the best, and this mistake was a rare exception. But for the feminine, the past is entirely irrelevant. One wrong word in the midst of a 5-hour lovemaking session that was otherwise perfect could collapse your woman as completely as if you had spent 2 hours making mistakes. Instead of getting angry because she's so upset that you made one little mistake in a long series of successes, instantly shift the energy between you. Remember, history is irrelevant to the feminine, so your mistake is as easily forgotten as your successes. As soon as you see she's upset, immediately assume happiness. Shock her with your love. Make her smile and laugh with your humor. Lick her neck or lift her off the ground and pretend you're King Kong. Surprise her in some loving way, and the emotional slate will be wiped clean. Your momentary failure will be effectively vanished, as irrelevant as the long line of your successes. Restore love and happiness in the present moment. Don't justify your little mistake by referring to your long line of successes. Chapter 34. She wants to relax in the demonstration of your direction. A woman must be able to trust you
this
to
is a
take
deep
charge
book.
if she
You learn a
relaxes her
lot.
own masculine edge. This is true financially,
For me,
sexually,
I be thinking
emotionally.
I'm like doing the right thing always, and then I listen to a book like this, and I'm like, yeah, you still got a lot of work to work on. Like so, but it's cool because I'm able to humble myself and like understand like shit. I still got a long way to go as far as relationships, life, shit, just everything. Everything is always a work in progress. It's always changing. So you always got to keep up with the times, right?
And spiritually. The man doesn't have to actually do all the work, but he must be able to steer the course if his woman is going to relax into her feminine without fear. Some women want to be in charge most of the time. This desire to guide direction, handling the remote control for the TV, or choosing the city in which to live, is a masculine desire in men and women. If your woman has a more masculine sexual essence, she will prefer to be in charge of the direction of your lives most of the time. But if your woman has a feminine sexual essence, there will be times that she would like to pleasurably relax and let go of being in charge. She would like to relax in her feminine and let you make the decisions. If you are not able to take charge, if you don't know the direction you want to go, your woman will feel you floundering. She will have to take charge again, since you are unable. She won't be able to relax. The more relaxed she is in her feminine, the more radiant your woman will be. You have probably noticed that your woman's radiance can change instantly. One moment she might seem dull and weary. Then perhaps after you praise her or surprise her with a gift of love, suddenly she is glowing. She looks 15 years younger. The lines in her face have disappeared in seconds. If you want your woman to be able to relax into her feminine and shine her natural radiance, then you must relieve her of the necessity to be in charge. This doesn't mean you need to boss her around. It means you need to know where you are heading and how you are going to get there in every way, including financially and spiritually. If you have the slightest uncertainty or ambiguity about your financial future, your woman will feel it. You don't have to say anything about it. She'll feel your doubt or ambiguity in your body, eyes, and the tone of your voice. It's not that you have to make a lot of money. You just have to be responsible for your finances and take your future into account. You might choose to be a monk. What's important is that you are clear, accountable, and directed from your deepest core of wisdom. Then your woman can relax. She knows where you stand and what your plans are. She can feel your integrity. She can trust your direction because she knows it comes from your deepest core. She is not swimming in the air of your uncertainty, but standing on solid ground, the ground that you've provided by your clarity. Even more important is your spiritual direction. Where is your relationship going? What are your lives about? What does it all add up to? How will the two of you continue to grow without getting stuck in the ruts of mediocrity? If your woman feels that you have lost your spiritual direction, she will seek direction herself and attempt to impose it on you, since you don't seem to have any yourself. If she feels that you are totally absorbed in your work, for instance, and when you're not obsessing about your career, you are absorbed in TV, then she will wonder, is this it? Is this what our relationship amounts to? Is this the highest vision that my man sees? If she feels you lacking in your financial clarity or your spiritual clarity, she will not be able to relax with you. She will automatically begin directing her own life, and probably yours too. She will develop her own masculine direction since you are lacking, and by doing so, her radiance will diminish. The more ambiguous you seem, financially and spiritually, the more she will need to pour her energy and attention into her own masculine direction and goals. For some women, this is great. They need to develop their own masculine energy. Other women, however, have already developed their masculine. They would like the opportunity to relax their own masculine and receive yours as a gift. How can you tell if your woman's self-direction is healthy for her? If she becomes more and more full and happy as she pursues her direction, then it is good for her. If she becomes more and more stressed, taut, and emotionally angular, then she is animating excess masculine direction. She is pushing herself in ways that may signal your irresponsibility. How can you be more responsible? Not necessarily by doing more work. You become more responsible by knowing your deepest purpose and then arranging your
Hold on, yeah.
finances and spiritual life from that knowingness. For your woman to relax in her radiance and feminine happiness, she needs to feel that she can get on your train and that it's going exactly where she wants to go. It doesn't matter if your woman earns more or less money than you, or even if she earns all the money in the relationship. What matters is if she can feel your loving clarity, wisdom, and certainty of direction. As long as she can feel that you are taking the finances into account and arranging your lives together so that the deepest love and fullest gifts can manifest, she will be able to trust your masculine direction and relax in her feminine heart of radiance. Part 5. Your Dark Side. Chapter 35. You are always searching for freedom. The essential masculine ecstasy is in the moment of release from constraint. This could occur when facing death and living through it, succeeding in and thus being released from your purpose, and in competition, which is ritual threat of death. The masculine is always seeking release from constraint into freedom. The feminine doesn't always understand these masculine ways and needs. Your basic motivation is to be released from constraint and experience the freedom from the other side. What are some of the most common forms of masculine ecstasy? Orgasm is one. The typical masculine orgasm, as you probably know, involves a buildup of tension or constraint until the dam finally breaks and your tension and energy are released. The post-orgasmic state is one of death-like peace, an emptiness akin to a blissful oblivion. The masculine is always seeking this release in one way or another. Most sports provide this masculine thrill of release from constraint into freedom. In football, for instance, the team with the ball is constrained by the other team that is lined up in front and ready to block them. The challenge is to break through the line and carry the ball to freedom. People with masculine essences become insanely emotional during this ritual of challenge and release from constraint into freedom. And if the freedom is achieved, men will shout and cheer as if their deepest heart desire has occurred. And it has. This breakthrough into freedom, however it occurs, is the main motive of the masculine. All masculine goals at work, on the meditation cushion, or on the football field are directed toward more freedom. The typical masculine desire for freedom involves the feeling of death, which is the ultimate masculine fear and freedom in one way or another. Orgasm is actually called petite mort, or little death in French. You say that you hope your favorite football team kills the other team, and you celebrate your financial killings with great glee. You are probably also familiar with darker aspects of the masculine desire for freedom. War, which is motivated by the desire for freedom, is a quintessential masculine pursuit. Most sports are ritualized war, but actual war itself resonates with the core of most men. Even movies about war, men being at their edge, giving it all they've got, up against death itself, motivated by a higher cause, evoke intense emotion in men. The capacity to face death for the sake of freedom, whether actually in war or ritually on the football field or chessboard, is the ultimate masculine act, evoking men's deepest emotions. The same capacity to face death is necessary for spiritual freedom. To live free in spirit, you must be willing to face your fears and let go of anything that limits your love. The attachment to comfort and security is what limits most men in their capacity to make a spiritual touchdown. The other team is your own need for private security. You are fighting a war with your own self-sense. To be free is to die to your need to be a separate self. What then could be constrained? Ego death. Absolute surrender to the point of oneness is the ultimate freedom. Few men ever release themselves enough to relax in this depth of freedom because they are afraid of absolutely no stress. No stress means no thoughts, no sense of protected self, no mission to accomplish. The end of the masculine game. Yet, this stress-free, unprotected end of the game is exactly what you are always seeking through orgasm, financial killings, or winning a war. You are willing to experience lesser forms of masculine death and ecstasy, but you are unwilling to face the death of your separate self-sense, and finally, be the freedom you have only allowed yourself to taste in moments. Men will always enjoy facing forms of death and coming out the other side into freedom, whether in the form of boxing matches, cop movies, martial arts, orgasm, philosophy, the stress-releasing of insight, or ego death. You must own the primacy of your desire to be free. Then you can enjoy the lesser forms of masculine ecstasy, but dedicate yourself to its highest form, transcendence of the fear of death by facing the limiting stress of your own self-sense and relaxing through it into the absolute freedom you have always intuited at your core, but sought through only temporary means. The feminine, on the other hand, is not seeking freedom, but love. A woman's bliss is not in emptiness, but in fullness. Her means is not release, but surrender. This is why a woman is upset when a man begins snoring after orgasm. He has finally achieved, in post-ejaculative emptiness, the blissful freedom from stress he has been seeking all day, one way or another. She, however, is hoping to experience love and fullness through sex, and a snoring man just doesn't do it for her. The feminine seeks fullness and abhors emptiness. She will fill her empty shelves with knickknacks, seashells, and pebbles collected from special places. When she does not feel full of love, she seeks to fill herself with ice cream, chocolate, or conversation, rather than empty her stress through TV or ejaculation, as men often do. Her dark side enjoys the emotional aggression in soap operas and romance novels, rather than the physical aggression of boxing matches and porno movies. She longs to fill her sense of spiritual emptiness by surrendering her heart and being filled with love. Her basic means towards spiritual unity is surrender into the devotional fullness of unbounded love, rather than breaking through the fear of ego death into unconstrained infinity of absolute freedom. In the end, the feminine search for love and the masculine search for freedom reach the same destination, the unbounded and infinite ground of being who you are, which is both absolute love and freedom. But until you finally relax into the place you always are, your woman will continue to surrender to you, chocolate, and shopping in the hope of being filled with love, and you will continue to release yourself through television, orgasm, and financial success in the hope of being emptied of stress into unconstrained freedom. Chapter 36. Own your darkest desires. If a man disowns his dark masculine desire for freedom, then he kinks the hose of his masculine force. His energy will not flow freely, and his attention will be bound by unfulfilled yearnings. Most importantly, if his hose is kinked in this way, he weakens his masculine capacity to stand fearless in the death that is conscious life. He will not be able to face the unknown, the groundless ground of being, and still function from his heart in love. When was the last time you really ravished your woman? That is, when was the last time you really took her, savagely, lovingly, with no inhibition whatsoever? Or has it been so long that you are fascinated and even turned on by rape scenes on TV or in the movies? When you are unable to express your dark passions with love, then they go underground in your psyche. Your dark desires become disconnected from your heart. Instead of being moved to embrace your woman with masculine force and aggressive passion, throwing her down on the bed, ripping off her clothes, and pinning her down beneath your body as you both yield yourselves in ecstatic loving, you begin to fantasize about controlling and dominating women in unloving ways. The desire to ravish is the sexual aspect of the same masculine desire that wants to break through opponents on a basketball court, break through philosophical barriers to intellectual insight, or break through the fear of death into spiritual freedom. The desire to ravish is the desire to break through a woman's resistances to open her heart and body into ecstatic loving. The pleasure in releasing her from all the conventional restraints of her psyche, so she has no choice but to surrender in love. When this masculine desire to ravish becomes disassociated from your heart, then you will settle for breaking through a woman's resistance without love, through violence or coercion. Although few men will readily admit it, most men have entertained fantasies about forcing a woman to have sex against her will. In fact, most women have entertained fantasies of being forced to have sex against their will. The dark feminine desire to be forced to surrender is as strong as the dark masculine desire to penetrate through a woman's resistance. The difference between rape and ravishment is love. Your woman surrendering to receive your strong love, or you lovingly forcing your woman to surrender into greater ecstasy, is the basis of ravishment. When you are unwilling to play these dark masculine and feminine poles in love and humor, then they will appear in loveless ways, such as rape fantasies, obsessions with soap operas, tragic stories of loss and brutality, and violent pornography. Sexual energy is at the root of your bodily force of life, and your relationship to ravishment reveals your relationship to life altogether. This is also true of your woman. If your woman is afraid to surrender completely and receive your loving in all of her parts, she will also be afraid to surrender completely and receive the loving of the divine through and through her. She will feel essentially empty, and so seek to be filled with the love of food, shopping, social events, and conversation. If you are afraid to yield yourself completely in the ecstasy of physical love with your woman, going beyond all sense of control and separate self, so your heart and her heart are one in the midst of absolutely abandoned passion, then you will also be afraid to yield yourself completely in divine freedom. You will grasp onto your sense of self and control instead of yielding through your fear into the boundless, unknowable infinity of existence. You will feel full of your own tension, and so attempt to empty yourself in the conventional masculine habits of TV, ejaculation, and work. You must learn to let go, absolutely in love with your woman. Unless you choose to live your life as a celibate, there is no way around this. You must be as fearless with your sexual desire as you are with your spiritual desire. The essential masculine fear is loss of self, which is also the essential masculine desire. So, if you are like most men, you are willing to lose yourself in controllable ways, like sports, newspapers, and orgasm. But you remain fearful of losing yourself, for real in love ecstasy with your woman, surrendered in the unknowable infinity beyond mind. As an experiment, the next time you make love with your woman, feel through your own physical and emotional boundaries into her. Feel into her so deeply that you become unaware of yourself and totally aware of her. Feel yourself move into her, your boundaries dissolving so that you become her, utterly aware of her breath, her movements, her emotions. Love her with more abandon than you've ever allowed yourself before. Feel through not only your boundaries, but also her boundaries, so that you are both dissolved in the immense force of your loving. Relax into the force of love so completely that only love remains. Allow this love to ravish your woman to bursting, filling her heart and body beyond capacity, so she has no choice but to surrender to the depth and force of your loving. With a relaxed and spontaneous body, allow your love to penetrate her so deeply that she is overwhelmed to the point of tears as you yield yourself, letting go of all fear, only giving love. In the midst of this self-yielding and giving of love, allow your entire masculine desire to manifest, dark and light. Do and be everything you ever wanted with her, in love, spontaneity, and with deep feeling into her and through her. From time to time, take special care to allow space for her energies and desires to take you to places you would never have gone on your own. By reclaiming the full force of your dark masculine loving, you will not only re-own your capacity to ravish your woman in selfless ecstasy, but you will also re-own your spiritual guts. You will develop the courage to let go of yourself in the face of ego death. You will unkink the hose of your masculine spiritual force by opening to the dark side of your sexual desiring, allowing the force of love itself to draw you beyond the need for control and fearful grasping. You will cultivate your capacity to die into love, with no need to hold on to yourself. Over time, as this force moves through you more freely, you will discover a natural enhanced capacity to yield into spiritual death, or the dissolution of your sense of separate self in the freedom of unboundedness. Rather than gripping onto yourself, you will be able to ease yourself more fully into the consciousness who you truly are. And in doing so, you will recognize the Great One, with no boundaries, who is living you now, and who is not other than you. But to let go of your sense of individuated separate self takes guts, and you won't have them if you don't even have the daring to let go of the sense of separation between you and your woman while making love. To truly ravish your woman in love, you must yield yourself in the worship and trust of her heart, which, in truth, is your heart. Such fearlessness will prepare you for, and perhaps even initiate you into the worship and trust of consciousness itself, such that you will find greater and greater capacity to yield into and as the boundless one who you truly are. Chapter 37. She wants the killer in you. Among many other qualities, a woman wants the killer in her man. She is turned off if her man is afraid and wants her to kill the cockroach or the mouse while he stands on a chair and watches. She is turned off if her man wants her to get out of bed in order to check out the strange sounds in the house and to find out if a burglar made the noise. Fearlessness, or the capacity to transcend the fear of death for the sake of love, is a quintessential form of the ultimate masculine gift. Although your woman doesn't want you to be a killer, she is turned on by your capacity to kill, and she is turned off by your lack of this capacity. For instance, imagine that a big cockroach crawls into the living room. You jump on the couch and scream to your woman, "Kill it, please, kill it!" She would probably not be turned on. Or imagine that you are in bed with your woman at night. You hear some strange noises downstairs in the kitchen.
Hey, babe, go check
You
it
are
out.
afraid, so you ask your woman to go down and check it out. She is not going to become excited by your masculine valiancy. In both of these cases, your woman will feel your fear. She doesn't want you to be a killer, but she does want you to feel that you are capable of facing death, if necessary. In fact, she wants to feel you are capable of killing, if necessary. If an insane maniac broke into your home and was about to murder your children, your woman would not be particularly happy if you had the opportunity to do something about it, but instead you said, "Well, okay, Mr. Maniac, whatever you want to do is fine with me." The dark masculine energy of the warrior, the one who could face death and kill when necessary, is an essential part of you. Today's current fashion is to suppress both the dark masculine and the dark feminine, so we have a large population of wimpy men and polite women. But beneath the nice veneer of most women lies the wrathful goddess who would chop the head off of every mediocre New Age man. And beneath the patient smile of most men lies the warrior of love who would ravish his woman into bliss rather than listen to her chat in pointless emotional circles. But the dark masculine energy has been suppressed so thoroughly these days that the ordinary man would prefer to paste a smile on his bored face rather than penetrate his woman's tensions with uncompromising love. And he's just as cautious about disrupting his own well-planned life of comfort and security in order to penetrate his own fear of death. Although she may resist it at first, your woman, if she has a feminine sexual essence, wants to feel your fearlessness. She wants to feel your capacity to face her closure, anger, and tension without trying to minimize her feminine force. She wants to feel your persistence in loving, so that her fury cannot turn you away. She wants to feel your capacity to stand strong in your own desires and ravish her because you love her, unafraid of her dark energy. She wants to feel this dark masculine capacity, not simply because she wants to be ravished, but because it is a sign of your overall capacity to face and know death, your own and others. And it is this capacity that makes you trustable as a man, both as a human warrior and as a spiritual warrior. The knowledge of death makes you humble and courageous. The knowledge of death strips the armor from your heart and allows the knowledge of love. This knowledge of death and love is your doorway through your own fears, through your own clinging to security, and into the unknowable mystery that lies beyond your little cell of self-protected importance. Your woman's desire for your dark side in love is a gift to you. By honoring her desire through the cultivation of your dark and fearless loving, your need for self-protection will decrease, and every moment will stand more naked, vulnerable, and true, released of your need for consolation and false self-assurance. Rather than smiling at your present experience from behind a curtain of safety, minimizing your participation with the always life-threatening potential of the moment, you will lovingly surrender your position and ravish the moment. Penetrate to its core and find yourself identical to it. Feeling through and through and through is your only freedom. The killer your woman wants is the one who knows that life is a process of dying through to that which cannot be lost. Only in this sacrifice of fear can your heart remain unguarded. Facing the potential burglar at night is only a sign to your woman that you are willing to lose everything into love. Chapter 38. She needs your consciousness to match her energy. A man must be able to meet his woman with consciousness equivalent to her energy. The feminine destructress must be met by the masculine destroyer. The goddess of devotion must be met by the god of all-pervading love. Dark or light, a man can't be stuck in or avoid any areas of his masculine capacity, or his woman will test him there. These areas of testing are usually first on the dark side. Only after trust is established there, only when the dark feminine lover knows she will be met by the dark masculine lover, will testing proceed toward the light. As you probably know, your woman is capable of being a witch, a sex slave, an Amazon, a goddess of light, a nurturing mother, a demoness, a luscious lover, a wise teacher, a wild animal, and everything in between. As a general rule, she will keep returning to the energy that you cannot match. For instance, if you are particularly turned off by her anger, she will seem to return again and again to the energy of anger. If you are unable to embrace her anger in the ferocity of your loving, transforming her anger into passion, she will continue to test your capacity to do so. Any of her energies that you are unable to transform into love through the force, clarity, and humor of your consciousness will return for you to face again and again. Perhaps she gets tense and agitated often. You have tried talking about this with her countless times. Nothing seems to make a difference. So you just stop trying. You learn to tolerate her tension. Without consciously choosing to get tense, she will continue to test you. Until your consciousness is able to blossom her beyond her tension, you will be tested. A lesser man might decide, well, she's going to have to deal with it herself. But she would not be in relationship with you if she wanted to deal with it herself. She wants your consciousness, clear, strong, and free as much as you want her radiance. If you are not penetrating her moods, she can't feel your free consciousness. Instead, she feels you throw up your hands, impotent in the face of her energy. The secret is to match her energy with consciousness, demonstrated through your body. If she is screaming and breaking dishes, your body must meet her energy. Your fearlessness and strength of love must manifest through your body. If you are cringing, if your voice is restrained and you are telling her that you love her, she won't believe you. If you walk up to her, hold her in your arms, and laugh affectionately in the humor of the moment, she will feel your freedom, if it is for real. She will feel it because it is communicated through your body. Your body, tone of voice, and the look in your eyes mean a lot more to her than anything you could say. Don't tell her what to do, but do it with her, with your body. If she is tense and closed down, lift her arms up above her head and kiss her heart. Don't just tell her to open up. Actually open her up, physically, with the openness of your body. The same is true of her bliss. You must meet it, bodily. If she is in the ecstatic throes of devotional surrender to divine love, then your body must meet hers, full of relaxation, power, and trust. Your capacity to surrender through your fears and release your sense of separate self in divine communion must be as strong as her surrender into love. And you must show it through your body, not just your words. If your surrender into communion is not as strong as hers, She will return to the place of your limiting fear, your weak link, and test you there. If you collapse or react with unlove when she questions your financial ability, she will continue to do so. If you feel weakened when she questions your sexual ability, she will continue to do so, implicitly or explicitly. She will never trust your lighter masculine capacities until you have proven your darker masculine capacities. Your woman has an intuitive knowledge concerning your consciousness. She knows that if you are not free to meet her dark destructress energy and ravish her in love, you won't be free to meet the dark destructress of the world, who will challenge your spiritual freedom with strength and love. You need not concern yourself with pleasing her. That's not the point. She is offering you a gift. She is presenting you with an energy in the form of her mood and emotion, offering you an opportunity to learn to master this energy with your fearless loving. Whatever energy she offers you, you can be sure the world will offer it to you as well. If you have ever tried to increase your income or magnify your spiritual clarity, you know that the world will test you. Only through your persistence, fearlessness, and loving service does the world yield to your efforts. And the same is true of your woman. You are not trying to please her. You are learning to pervade the world, including her, with consciousness and love. That is what you are here to do. The world will test you with dark, wild, and resistive energies financially and spiritually, for example, in the same way your woman is testing you emotionally. If you hide your deepest gifts from her in fear, you will also hide your deepest gifts from the world in fear. If you give up at a certain point with her, you will likewise only go so far in the giving of your gift to the world. Your woman knows your weaknesses better than anybody. She knows where you will falter and give up. She knows the degree of mediocrity you will settle for. And she knows your true capacity as a full man, a man of free consciousness and love. Her gift, if she is a good woman, is to test you with her darkest moods over and over and over, until your consciousness is unperturbed by feminine challenge, and you are able to pervade her with your love, just as you are here to pervade the world. In response to your fearless consciousness, she will drench your world in love and light. Part 6. Feminine Attractiveness. Chapter 39. The feminine is abundant. There is never a shortage of women or feminine energy. If a man feels that there aren't enough women, or that life isn't giving him what he wants, he is simply negating his relationship to the feminine. This sense of starvation, life is not sustaining me, or there are no good women, is usually rooted in a man's early childhood relationship with his mother. Life itself is the feminine. There is never a shortage of feminine energy, only a resistance to receiving, trusting, and embracing it. You must actually refuse feminine energy in order to feel tired, dry, and hungry for a woman. You are living in an ocean of feminine energy right now. Feminine energy is filling your body with life, beating your heart, and breathing your breath. There are women all around you who, with the proper initiation into mutually surrendered loving, would feed every cell of your body with juicy, enlivening, rejuvenative feminine energy. If you feel stranded on your own masculine island of weariness and hunger, it is because you are refusing to embrace the energy and women around you. Whenever you are feeling isolated and weary, feel the present moment as if it were a woman. Feel like you are embracing a woman physically. Feel the front of your body as if it were pressed against the front of a woman's naked body, being filled with the delight of her feminine softness and liveliness. Feel her breasts and belly against you. Breathe deeply as if you were inhaling her intoxicating fragrance. And while inhaling, receive deeply into your body not just her scent, but the very essence of feminine deliciousness, as if it were nourishing food for your masculine soul. Relax your body and feel the ocean of feminine energy around you. Feel your surroundings as her form, the sounds around you as her moans and laughter, and the light around you as her smile. Actually relax with the moment as you would relax with your lover, not metaphorically, but literally, bodily, with full intention and presence. Do the same in the company of human women. Feel them not merely as friends, co-workers, or sisters, but as walking blessings of energy. Receive their anger as a jolt of awakening energy. Receive their sexiness as a blessing of enlivenment. Receive their happiness, even when you are depressed, as a light shower of refreshment. Open your breath and body and fully receive each woman's unique flavor of feminine energy, so your day becomes a feast of plenty. You need not show the women you meet throughout the day that you are doing anything special at all. Continue to treat them in whatever way is appropriate for the situation. But through it all, relax and enjoy the bountifulness of feminine energy that surrounds you, both in the form of human women and in the form of the moment together. Chapter 40. Allow older women their magic. Men should support older women in their wisdom, power, and intuitive and healing capacities. Men should not degrade older women by demanding or desiring them to be like young women. There should be no such comparison. Each age of woman has its own value, and the transition from superficial shine to deep radiance is inevitable. For many reasons, from biological to yogic, you are probably more sexually attracted to young women than older ones. Walking down the beach or street, your head is more likely to turn for a 20-year-old woman than a 60-year-old. This is quite natural. But there is more to feminine energy than this. Youthful sexual attractiveness is a temporary aspect of a much deeper and more fundamental quality of feminine energy: radiance. Feminine radiance is not only the flush of a young woman's cheeks or the glow of her skin, but is the shine of life force itself. A woman's true radiance reveals the degree to which she is open, trusting, connected, and loving. Her capacity to love, in turn, allows her body to be moved by the power of life force itself. Herein lies the true nature of feminine radiance and power, far beyond the simple sexiness of a naive young woman. When a woman is young, her body more easily conducts life force, and so she appears more radiant in general than an older woman. But even amongst young women, there are those who are pretty just on the outside, and those whose beauty springs from their depths. As a woman ages, her skin begins to lose its youthful capacity to conduct life force. What remains obvious of her feminine radiance is primarily her beauty of depth. In fact, it is this deep beauty that you find most attractive even in young women. There is a difference between your knee-jerk response to a cute babe and the open-hearted awe and mindless swoon you feel in the company of a woman who moves, breathes, smiles, and shines radiant feminine energy like a goddess. When looking into such a woman's eyes, you feel an almost breathtaking depth of compassion, love, and mystery. This deep feminine beauty or radiance need not be diminished by age. Actually, it can be magnified, deepened, and glorified. If you are disconnected from your deep masculine core of purpose and consciousness, then you will also be disconnected from a woman's depth. You will see only skin deep, and you will be attracted to the superficial display of a woman's radiance, which often disappears with the passing of youth. You will inadvertently dishonor the true and deep forms of feminine radiance, and so contribute to the social cult of youth, wherein women try to look and behave younger and more superficial than they truly are, denying the power and radiance springing from their depths. The natural sexiness of a young woman will always give you energy. You never need to deny this, but the awesome beauty and radiant ease of a deep woman can stop your mind, widen your heart, and suspend your body in the mystery of feminine grace, all in an instant, with a single gaze or touch regardless of her body's age. And in relationship with such a woman, there are no bounds to the rapture which may resonate through your union. Boundless feminine love radiance and temporary physical sexiness are both blessings. You must decide, moment by moment and year by year, which qualities you will invoke and venerate with your attention, praise, and union. As a woman grows older with wisdom, her psychic weight increases. She becomes a bigger woman, able to influence her surroundings with stronger magic than a less developed woman. She is able to read the signs of nature with great accuracy, as well as sway events with almost shocking reign. A superior man honors and appreciates this kind of magic and knows that it complements his masculine style of accomplishment. An older woman will also tolerate less of your bullshit than a younger woman. Although this might be one of your reasons for preferring younger women, you must choose your priority. If you find yourself attracted to younger women, be careful that you aren't trying to find an easy relationship with a woman who will let you slide. If your purpose is to become ever more free of your self-burdens and give your true gift to the world, then a spiritually mature woman who won't let you slather in your comfy habits of security and distraction may be an excellent ally for your journey. Chapter 41. Turn your lust into gifts. When a man sees a beautiful woman, it is natural for him to feel energy in his body, which he usually interprets as sexual desire. Rather than dispersing this energy in mental fantasy, a man should learn to circulate his heightened energy. He should breathe fully, circulating the energy fully throughout his body. He should treat his heightened energy as a gift which could heal and rejuvenate his body, and through his service, heal the world. Through these means, his desire is converted into fullness of heart. His lust is converted into service. His desire is not converted by denying sexual attraction, but by enjoying it fully, circulating it through his body, without allowing it to stagnate as mental fantasy, and returning it to the world from his heart. If you are like most men, sexual energy tends to go directly to one of two places. Either your head becomes stimulated and you fantasize about being with a woman who turns you on, or your genitals become stimulated in lustful need. Your head and genitals, however, are just the north and south poles of the whole body. A superior man circulates the energy of arousal throughout his body, taking particular care not to let it stagnate in swollen fantasies or appendages. The purpose of sexual desire is creation. Reproduction is but the biological aspect of creation. As a man, you probably have much more to give the world than your children. Just as beautiful women inspire biological procreation, they also inspire artistic, social, and spiritual creativity. When it comes down to it, most creative men will admit that, one way or another, women are their muse and inspiration. Women bring them into the world. Women move them to create and serve humanity. In fact, some men would go so far as to say that, if it weren't for women, they wouldn't be interested in the world much at all. If you are a man, you have probably found yourself inspired at one time or another by a woman. Such inspiration is usually temporary because most men don't know how to cultivate their relationship to the feminine. They tend to be inspired and then spurt it out through spasms of thought and ejaculation. Then they seek inspiration again through more women or through other feminine sources such as alcohol, drugs, or nature. But if you learn to discipline your habits of building up and releasing mental and sexual tension, you can continually cultivate and magnify your inspiration. You can wean yourself from the addictive cycles of sexuality and intoxication. You can make use of the native force of sexual desire for your woman and for other women, and convert your tendency toward fantasy and lust into the force of inspiration. Feel lust. Feel what it really is in its totality. Your lust reveals your real desire to unite with the feminine, to penetrate as deeply as possible, to receive her delicious light as radiant food for your masculine soul, and to give her your entirety, losing yourself in the giving so that you are both liberated beyond yourselves in the explosion of your gifts. This explosion of gifting could be the basis of your life, not just a moment of sexual yielding. When you feel sexual lust or desire for any woman, breathe deeply and allow the feeling of desire to magnify, and allow it to magnify more. Don't let the energy become lodged in your head or genitals, but circulate it throughout your body. Using your breath as the instrument of circulation, bathe every cell in the stimulated energy. Inhale it into your heart, and then feel outward from your heart, feeling the world as if it were your lover. With an exhale, move into the world and penetrate it, skillfully and spontaneously, opening it into love. Through these means, allow women's sexiness to help you discover and give your gift. rather than beguile you into cycles of stimulation and depletion. Chapter 42. Never allow your desire to become suppressed or depolarized. When a man denies his desire for the feminine, either by choice or due to familiarity, it is a sign of his depolarization even toward the world. He may seek a mistress in order to reinvigorate him, but this is usually only a temporary and complicated solution, since it is only a matter of time before his mistress also becomes familiar, and thus tiresome. Any woman toward whom a man becomes depolarized will feel his rejection, disgust, and turning away. In response, she will become angry and destructive. Her unhusbanded energy will begin to move chaotically, becoming even self-destructive. A man has no excuse. He must cultivate a polarized relationship to his woman and his world if he is to remain in relationship with them. You have a choice. You could choose to give your gift as a renunciate celibate, living only with the most minimal engagement with the world and women, or you could choose to engage the world and women fully as a way of giving your gift. If you choose to engage the world and women fully, then you must maintain a certain degree of polarization or mutual attraction with them. Otherwise, you will begin to reject, resist, and resent the world and women, undermining your capacity to give your gift. You've probably seen the face of your woman when you've gotten to the point of putting up with her rather than permeating her. She begins to look haggard and drawn. Her long face bespeaks a heart and body unravished by the clarity and force of your masculine loving. She never seems really happy. Eventually, her resentment turns inward, and disease symptoms begin to appear in her body. Her skin seems to wither before your eyes. You dislike her smell. As her frustration and negativity build, you become less attracted, which of course deprives her of even normal human affection. When things get really bad, she seems so ugly and dark that you are repulsed, and your complete withdrawal leaves her barren at her core. You may stay together because you love each other, but both of you are totally depolarized, more disgusted than turned on by each other. During these times, you probably also begin to feel the same disregard toward the world. Over time, you may begin to lose interest in your projects and career. You may consider changing jobs or finding another woman. It seems that newness in and of itself will be more attractive and exciting than your worn-out woman in your droning career. And you are right. A new woman and new work will excite you and cheer you up. And this is exactly what a mediocre man does. He stays with a woman and a project for as long as they interest him and turn him on. When the excitement seems to wear off, he moves on to another, and then another hopeful source of polarity and excitement. It is not that time kills delight, but familiarity, neutralization, and lack of purpose. Another man might find your woman to be quite a turn-on, even though she seems old shoe to you. It may not be your woman who is worn out, but your capacity for desire. You may feel like having as little to do with her as possible, but your lack of desire is only that, a lack of desire. You have spent so much time with your woman that you have rubbed off on each other, like two magnets that have demagnetized each other. Familiarity breeds depolarization, and depolarization breeds contempt amongst lovers. Every moment you treat your woman as simply a childcare helper or a buddy, you are neutralizing the same sexual differences that would secretly attract you to your female babysitter or business acquaintance. Over time, you actually begin to behave more sexually neutral with your woman than you do with other women you meet throughout the day. Chances are, your woman is more sensitive to sexual energy than you. She will probably feel the effects of this sexual neutralization or depolarization before you will. And when she does, her first reaction will be to feel rejected. Not in any big way, but in a small, constant way that undermines her feminine radiance. Even when she shines, you will treat her with more sexual neutrality than a woman on the bus. She will feel hurt and become darkened, and you will feel even less attracted to her. Although both of you are playing into this downward spiral of darkening depolarization, you must not blame her. A superior man always assumes complete responsibility, knowing that ultimately he has no control at all and everything is out of his hands. He acts with impeccable courage and persistence, expecting nothing but the inherent feeling of completeness he enjoys in the fullest giving of his gift. When your woman is looking withdrawn, dark, or downright ugly, assume she is a goddess and needs your divine invasion of her heart and body. Notice your incipient feeling of disgust for her dark mood, and take utter responsibility for her transformation. You know how fully committed you could be to, say, finishing a project at work. Treat her mood with the same ferocity of intent. Her mood is your challenge. Can you invade her body and heart with so much love and humor that she laughs, relaxes, and brightens in spite of herself? Can you bring out the consort in her by treating her with the same teasing and sexually pregnant touch and gaze as you would your mistress? You will not want to, that's for sure. When you are depolarized, the last thing you want to do is get it up for that potato. And yet, this is exactly what a superior man does with his woman and his world. He knows that when things get dreary, it is his own doing. He knows that he is only truly happy when giving his gift fully and to the last drop. He knows that depolarization is a sign that he has ceased giving fully of himself, and so the world and his woman have ceased responding in fullness. Sometimes you must move on to another job or another woman. That's fine if it is a true movement of growth, clear, empowering, and an aspect of the ongoing giving of your gift. But more often than not, your first impulse to move on comes when you have ceased invading the moment with your fullest capacity to give, and instead are droning along, coping, rather than creating. You can spend decades coping with a job before you realize that you've wasted much of your life. After just a few minutes of coping with your woman, however, she will show you her pain. Her face will show it to you. Her tone of voice will reveal it. Her seeming ugliness will reflect the collapse of her radiant core in response to your ambiguity of desire. Her dark mood is as ugly and repulsive to you as your ambiguity is to her. It only takes a moment of meeting a real challenge to bring a man back to full purpose, an emergency or a threat that demands his best. And it only takes a moment of praise and deep appreciation to revoke a woman's radiance. It can happen to your woman at the grocery store or at the spa when a man signals his appreciation, or it can happen at the kitchen table with you. Rather than deciding to move on because you are too weak to overcome your own neutralized lack of desire, try to take on the challenge of manifesting love in the dreary world and in your dreary woman. Use your body and mind to smithereen your woman's darkness into love. Even if she has yellow eyes and fangs, she still loves to dance. It's up to your freedom and strength of transmission whether she drains your energy, bites your Wembley head off, or surrenders to your fearless passion. Chapter 43. Use her attractiveness as a slingshot through appearance. A good woman is a source of inspiration and attraction into the world of a man. He must never forget, however, that neither the world nor his woman is the purpose of his existence. His practice is always to feel through women in the world, without suppression or disdain, into their source or very nature. A man's attraction to women must be converted from attraction to women into attraction through women. He must feel his desire without suppression, and then feel through his desire into the source energy of desire. He must feel through her beauty into the very delight of which her beauty is but a ripple and reminder. His whole relation to appearance is epitomized in his relation to women, either as obsession, distraction, or revelation. In your worship of women, never forget that they die. In your enjoyment of pleasure and delight, never forget that your sensations and feelings are fleeting and never absolutely enough. Women can attract you, heal you, and inspire your gifts, but they will never satisfy you absolutely. Never. And you know this. This is why women are so frustrating to you. Their promise attracts you in one way or another, perhaps many times a day. And yet, throughout your life, you have learned and will continue to learn that they cannot make good on the promise. The fulfillment that seems like a woman is actually unavailable in her form. The play of your body wanting her body is the most obvious hoax of fulfillment. If you have ever gotten the woman you've wanted, you know that it is never as good as you hoped for, at least not for very long. And yet you continue to be attracted over and over and over to the same woman or to different women. It's all the same thing. You are deceived by the mirage of your own desire. You are deluded by your own excitement. Women are not to blame. They are to be cherished and felt through. To feel a woman and be merely yanked by your desire for her form is stupid. Bulls and houseflies are yanked by feminine forms and desire. It is an endless, stupid round of mirage, desire, and need. And yet, so much of your life goes to looking at, thinking about, and desiring women. It's not something that can be simply shucked, but it is something that can be felt through. Like a slingshot, the momentum of your desire can be used to deliver you to the source that women only promise. Women are the epitome of appearance, all appearance, everything around you, potential and actual. And like women, all appearance seems to promise you something you want. You want success from your job. You want love from your woman. You want pleasure from your body. You want obedience from your dog. When you don't get what you want, when you lose money, your woman hates you, your body is in pain, and your dog bites you, you're unhappy. When you do get what you want, you are less unhappy. You are least unhappy when you are relieved of the need to get anything at all from appearance. Just driving in your car, wanting nothing, watching the trees go by, can be an epiphany of perfection. Deep sleep, orgasm, a day of fishing, looking into an infant's eyes, these occasions can relax you from your search long enough to realize that you already have what you seek. That what appearances promise is a revelation of your own deep and inherently blissful nature. You are that which you seek, but you have left your own deepness and are looking elsewhere. The stress of not finding it creates its own need to be released, and so the cycle continues. You are chasing your own tail, and much of the time, that tail looks suspiciously like a woman. But you don't need to stop chasing. Instead, chase. Allow yourself to feel how badly you want her. Feel how deep is the itch you want scratched. Feel the need that drives you, for most of your adult life, to yearn for a woman, in flesh or in fantasy. And discover what it is you really want. You've had tit, you've had pussy, you've had nurturing, you've had wild passion, and none of it lasted. It wasn't even that good as long as it did last. Your need is far deeper than any woman can provide. So what is it? Your ultimate desire is for the union of consciousness with its own luminosity, wherein all appearance is recognized as your deep, blissful nature, and there is only one. Your desire for union with a woman is a stepped-down version of this ultimate spiritual need. You can use your desire as a doorway to spiritual oneness, magnify your desiring to the brink of madness, sustain it with full breath, relaxed body, and open heart. Embrace your woman, if you have one, and give her what you want from her. Give it all to her. Give it away to her. Give her so much of what you want from her that you can't tell who is who. The chaser has become the tail, and all motion stops in the intensity of self-release. There is only one. The very light of your consciousness shines as the world, and it is looking back at you, appearing as a woman. She often appears as what you most fear and desire. She is the goddess, ready to fuck you, murder you, and enlighten you. Her appearance and your desire can be an endless drama of need, or they can merge, becoming a doorway to your divine source. In a moment of attraction, let your desire feel to her, but don't stop there. Feel through her. Do this constantly. Feel through her body when you are having sex with her. Feel through her anger when she is raging at you. Feel through her darkness when she seems ugly. Feel through her beauty when she most attracts you. By feeling through all of her forms, the superior man is not distracted or obsessed. Rather, his attention feels through the mirage of other, and he is released of need in the revelation of oneness. Desire can be a doorway to deep oneness. Sexual union is a fractal or step-down reflection of the ever-present wedding of consciousness and its inherent luminosity. The superior man embraces his woman as his own form. The revelation of deep oneness is love. Women can seem to bring you to your true nature, or they can seem to take you away from it. Each moment of appearance and of woman may be a distraction, an obsession, or a revelation. Notice the distractions, tits, ass, wealth, and fame, and practice the revelation of oneness by feeling through the distractions. Notice the obsessions, tits, ass, wealth, and fame, and practice the revelation of oneness by feeling through the obsessions. Practice it with your woman, for real. Bow down to her, and then bow down through her into the deep, which only seems to have been another. Part 7. Body Practices. Chapter 44. Ejaculation should be converted or consciously chosen. There are many physical and spiritual reasons why ejaculation should be converted into non-ejaculatory whole body, brain, and heart orgasms. But there are also relational reasons. When a man has no control over his ejaculation, he cannot meet his woman sexually or emotionally. She knows she can deplete him, weaken him, empty him of life force. She has won. When a man ejaculates easily, he creates ongoing distrust in his woman. At a subtle level, she feels he cannot be trusted. She and the world can deplete and depolarize him easily. This subtle distrust will pervade the relationship. She will not only doubt him, but actually act to undermine his actions in the world. By undermining him, she demonstrates and tests his weakness. But she also hopes that through such tests, he can learn to remain full. You won't be willing to bypass ejaculation until you have experienced the much greater pleasures which lie beyond it. In the meantime, notice how you feel in the minutes and days following ejaculation. If you have accumulated a lot of tension in your daily life, ejaculation will afford you a temporary release and relaxation. But as you live your life with more and more true purpose, you won't accumulate so much tension during the day. Then you will discover that ejaculation, for the most part, actually depletes and weakens you. It feels great for a few moments, but the price you pay for the genital sneeze of ejaculation is a much higher level of mediocrity in your daily life. You will find that you just don't have the extra gusto necessary to live your life with utter impeccability. Excess ejaculations pave the road to living a good life, but not a great life. In a subtle way, excess ejaculations will diminish your courage to take risks, professionally and spiritually. You will settle for doing enough to get by, to be comfortable, but you will find that you would rather watch TV than write your novel. Meditate.
Like I used to have a habit of just couldn't stop masturbating, couldn't stop watching porn. It wasn't even about masturbating, it was about watching porn. So once I started practicing sexual transmutation, not watching porn, I started to see the benefits in it, but then I ain't say I stop overall just watching porn, I don't watch it, period, cause sometimes I do slip up, but overall, as a man, that's what this world is, can't help it sometimes. But I don't do it as much as I used to do, especially in my 20s, where I used to. I ain't gonna speak on that.
Or make that important.
Shit used to be bad.
You will have enough motivation to live a decent life, but ejaculations drain you of the cutting through energy that is necessary to pierce your own wall of lethargy and slice through.
All the time, I wasn't creative. I wasn't creating nothing. I was always procrastinating. I was always I don't know. My life was shit. I had no type of control over my life. Like, so once I got over the urges of lust, temptation, porn, like my life tend to start like going in the right direction, at least the direction I wanted to go in. Like, so it is important. Like, if you've never took a break from masturbating, you should at least like try 1 week first, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, see how far you get. But the longest I think I practiced it was like 30 days. Some people be doing like 5 years, 4 years. I'm like, I ain't trying to be Superman in this bitch.
Instructions that arise in the world. Your gift will remain largely ungiven. Your woman can feel all of this. She may be sexually turned on by making you ejaculate. It may please her in the short run. She may even say she feels sexually unfulfilled if you don't ejaculate. But there is also a deeper part of her that has never been sexually fulfilled by you because of your tendency to ejaculate frequently and soon. Most women can experience many orgasms, and deeper orgasms. And more importantly, most women have a natural connection between their genitals and their heart. When you ejaculate and lose your erection, you are probably depriving your woman of her fullest capacity of heart reception and expression, which is evoked by relaxed, loving, watery hours of your fearless and unstressful genital penetration. It is not simply your genital penetration that touches her deeply, though. The main penetration she feels is your yielding into her, through her in love. It is the fullness of your presence, the actual invasion of her body by your consciousness, that most ravishes her. Face it, if you are like most men, after an ejaculation or two, you don't really want to penetrate or ravish her anymore. You are content to relax in the emptiness of released tension. You don't feel much desire to enter your woman, bodily or emotionally, as you did just before you ejaculated. Your woman feels your lack of desire, and she also intuits, perhaps subconsciously, that your lack of desire also applies to the world. If she can drain you, so can the world. If she waits for your deepest gifts as you lie feebly in the bed of undesire, so might the world. She senses that you have succumbed to her, that you have allowed temporary pleasures to diminish your capacity for fullest consciousness. She knows you will likewise succumb to the world. One part of your woman is happy. She made you come. She is happy you are relaxed and enjoying yourself. Another part of her is disappointed that you've allowed yourself to choose a temporary and pleasurable spasm over the endless ravishment of her and the world. Sometimes she doesn't even know what she is missing. If she's never been with a man who has the capacity for full consciousness during sex, without conceding to the mechanical reflex of ejaculation, then she doesn't even know the extent of her capacity. She doesn't realize how deep and ecstatic sexual loving can be. She has never been utterly dissolved in loving, surrendered beyond a shred of closure, ravished through and through until there is nothing left to ravish, just openness, love, radiant and alive in all directions. Some women, because of their need to guard and protect their wounded heart, would actually prefer that you ejaculate. That way, they never have to open all the way, or expose their depths to your touch. They know that after some oral sex and maybe a half hour of intercourse, you will ejaculate and it will be over. They don't want to feel you persist beyond their habitual closure. They would rather stay in control and draw out your ejaculation whenever they want. It is especially this kind of woman who would most benefit from your undiminished capacity to lead her beyond all closure. And it is especially with this kind of woman that you can cultivate your capacity to persist in the giving of your love. The world will constantly test your capacity to give your gift in the face of refusal. A woman who refuses your loving is simply a manifestation of this aspect of the world. Deep down, your woman only wants love, as do you. Her refusal is a form of her fear. She may have childhood wounds that she is afraid of feeling. She may have been hurt as an adult and is afraid that if she opens, she'll be hurt again. But in the present moment, all emotional resistance comes down to the same thing, a refusal to love. Your masculine sexual gift is to coax, humor, shock, and caress her love into melting through her layers of fear. Without imposing your own needs on her, let your love penetrate to the deep part of her that is totally open to love, that is love itself, and coax it to the fore. Do this slowly, over time, not through conversation, but through bodily communicated presence, care, consciousness, and the liquid loving of sexual intermingling. When she feels the absolutely trustable nature of your loving, that you are truly with her, committed to loving, and you're not going to get lost in the self-enclosed spasm of your own pleasurizing, she will begin to trust you with her most vulnerable core. But not until then. Every time she feels you contorting into your own sensations, she feels you gone, not present, not trustable. She may enjoy giving you an ejaculation, but a deeper, perhaps unexpressed part of herself will not trust you. Why should she? Why should she expose her deepest part, her most vulnerable heart, only to have you convolute in a paroxysm of self-possessed gratification, followed by your withdrawal into post-ejaculative relational non-interest? Every time she sucks you into an uncomfortable need to ejaculate, she has conquered you. She controls you and masters you. She is in charge sexually, no matter what manly gestures you make before ejaculating. With a simple flick of her tongue, a silky moan, or a slurping tilt of her pelvis, she can drain you of life, and deep down, she knows the world can do the same to you. A superior man may choose to ejaculate occasionally, but such a choice is made freely, before even engaging in sex, not after it is too late, at the last uncontrollable moment before the physiological roller coaster starts heading down the deep dive into screaming release. A superior man is dedicated to the magnification of love through sexuality. He does not settle for less than the total surrender of his woman's heart, as well as his own, into the fullness of a divine union. The pleasures of this dissolution into love so far exceed the typical genital spurt that ejaculation is easily bypassed or postponed once a man and woman have expanded their sexual capacity. Just as your woman tests you emotionally, so she will test you sexually. Even when you are trying not to ejaculate, she may energetically begin to pull the ejaculation from you. As always, her deepest pleasure is in feeling your fullness, your strength, and your love, even while she is testing you. When you don't ejaculate, but demonstrate that the fullness of loving is more important to you than the quick thrill of genital release, then she can truly trust you. But she will continue to test your capacity for loving, even once you've demonstrated your capacity to bypass ejaculation for the sake of a much more profound bliss. The bottom line is this: if ejaculation is not completely a matter of conscious choice for you, your woman knows she controls you sexually. And as long as she knows she's in charge, she won't trust you enough to relax fully in the force of your loving. She will always keep her heart somewhat protected, rather than surrender so deeply in your embrace that she is splayed into divine brightness. She will go for whatever moist pleasures she can get before you lose interest. Your woman will be sexually, emotionally, and spiritually unfulfilled to the extent that you are addicted to ejaculation. And in many ways, the world will be just as unfulfilled by your gifts. Your addiction to cycles of release will stop you short of full and conscious disillusion into your deepest source, and so your true gifts will not emerge. By strengthening your capacity for the fullest communion sexually, you also strengthen your capacity to dissolve into the source of life and re-emerge soaked in gifts, erect with purpose, and full of desire to give your deepest gifts in the face of worldly resistance to you. A superior man dissolves into the mystery and re-emerges full of love to give, again and again, without petering out in his sexual relationship with his woman and in his creative relationship with the world. Chapter 45. Breathe down the front. All men tend to have blocks in the front of their body, along an imaginary line that runs from the top of the head, through the tongue, throat, heart, solar plexus, navel, and genitals, down to the perineum. The principal bodily key to mastering the world in women is maintaining a full and open front of the body at all times. The best method is through full and relaxed breathing, drawing energy down the front and freeing attention from neurotic self-concern. When you get nervous, your stomach tightens. When you are saddened, a lump forms in your throat. When you are threatened, your solar plexus feels queasy. When you think hard, your forehead wrinkles. When you consider the unsure future, you tense your jaw. For much of the day, you are tightening, tensing, and contracting the front of your body, from the top of your head, through your chest, and all the way down past your gut. The front of your body, especially your belly, is the place where your energy meets the energy of the world. When the front of your body is open and relaxed, your power flows freely, and your presence fills the room. You've probably been with people who seem to occupy more space in the room than most people. They seem to command attention, even though they are not doing anything obvious to attract it. The front of their body is so open that their energy flows freely through the room, magnifying their presence. Such people are remarkably relaxed, poised, and attentive. They are not all wrapped up in their own self-concern, hunched over a sunken chest, gritting their teeth and hardly breathing. This is the picture of a closed belly and chest. If the front of your body has accumulated tension throughout the day and throughout the years, you will hardly be able to sit up straight. Your belly and chest will be tight. Your thoughts will center on yourself. Your energy will remain constricted in your head and your awareness limited to self-concern. Your powerful presence won't fill the room at all. You might not even be noticed. Right now, notice your breath. Are you inhaling so deeply you feel your genitals bulging slightly? Is your belly rising and falling with your inhale and exhale like a mighty bellows? Your belly and lower abdomen are special places of power. If your breath does not reach these areas, you cannot recharge your batteries. You will feel weak and unsure of yourself. Your effect in the world will be minimal, less than your full potential. Inhale deeply through your nose and breathe through whatever tensions you notice in your body. Inhale deeply into your lower belly, then exhale. On your next inhalation, fill your entire belly, then your solar plexus and lower chest, then exhale. Then inhale and fill your belly, solar plexus, and your entire chest, in that order. For several breaths, inhale fully in this way, filling your belly, solar plexus, and finally your chest. Then exhale fully, slowly and smoothly. Throughout the day, practice this kind of breathing in random moments. Pay special attention to any part of your body that seems particularly tense or closed. For instance, if the area around your navel seems tight, then inhale into that area. Literally inhale right into that area and open it with the force of your inhaled
That's
breath.
how you clear your chakras.
Like filling a balloon,
basically what
you can
he's
stretch open the entire
telling you
front
to
of your
do
body
right
with
now.
your inhale.
What he's telling you to do right now is clear your I said clear, but unblock your chakras. So the solar plexus is right under the heart chakra. The heart chakra, kind of short, but heart chakra is right here. Solar plexus is like right here below the chest. So then you got your throat chakra, of course, third eye chakra, crown chakra, all of those. Then your root chakra is at the lower base of your back. Then you got said the solar plexus, but the sacral chakra is above, like, well, in under your navel and above your pelvis area. So when sometimes you be tensed in those areas, you just need to take a few deep breaths to focus on those areas, breathe into those areas, and then you can unblock that. So
This way, you counter the effects of accumulated fear and anxiety stored in your body, which diminish your presence and force in the world. Throughout the day, as soon as you feel tension in the front of your body, inhale into that area and open it. The main way you generate bodily tension is by turning your attention back on yourself in self-concern, curling into yourself so tightly you feel all knotted up. Therefore, the main cure is to give yourself to others. Whenever you notice that you are mulling over your own problems, knotting energy into your body as tension, take that energy and create a gift for others. It could be as simple as doing the dishes in the sink, or as complex as building a business that will benefit others. Convert into service the energy that is knotting up the front of your body. Your tension is only the energy of a gift that has become backed up, unexpressed in your body. Your breath is a primary expression of your personal energy. Therefore, your breath is one of the primary ways to give your gift to the world. You can use your breath to open up other people's knots of tension, just as you open your own. Suppose you are with a person who seems a little tense. You can allow yourself to feel his tensions, and then inhale into his tensions just as if they were yours. Inhale and open his tensions with the force of your inhalation. Then exhale and release all tensions, yours and his. Inhale and open his knots with the force of your breath. Then exhale and release all contraction, leaving only relaxation and love. All of this occurs without any physical contact. In fact, he probably won't have any idea that you are doing anything unusual whatsoever. You could do this practice at work, with your lover, or with a whole crowd on a bus. If you are alone in your home, you could imagine all the tension in the world and inhale the force of life into this tension to open it up. Then exhale, releasing the tension into love to be dissolved, like a handful of salt released into the ocean. By practicing this form of breathing, you uncurl your attention from yourself, alleviating the knots of contraction in the front of your own body, and at the same time, you assume your true status as servant to others, who also, in their own way, are serving you. These kinds of practices may seem odd to some people, but before you write such practices off as whimsical hokiness, try them. Do them and find out the results for yourself. The next time you are in a meeting with others, inhale into the front of your body and open all the knots, letting your force expand out into the room as a blessing, feeling all stress dissolve in the ocean of love on your exhale. Feeling the unease of others, open their knots with the force of your inhale, and then let the knots dissolve with the release of your exhale. Pervade the room with your conscious loving in this way. Even now, in this moment, inhale down the front of your body, fully expanding your belly and opening your solar plexus and heart. Allow your fullness of force to expand outward, through the room and beyond the room, so as to pervade all others with the conscious force of your breath. Make love with the world in this way, all day, pervading and dissolving all unease. Feel the world against your body like a naked woman, vulnerable and alive, and allow the front of your body to press into and through the world's body, liberating the knots of accumulated pain. Also, when sexually embracing your woman, use your breath to open her body and heart in exactly the same way. Fill her with the force of your loving, inhaling down through the front of her body as if it were yours, filling her genitals, belly, and heart with love energy. Then exhale, and let both of you dissolve in the ocean of your loving. Always pervade through her with your breath, inhaling and exhaling, so that her tension and closure dissolve in the force of your loving, and you dissolve in the giving. Chapter 46. Ejaculate up the spine. For most men, ejaculation involves spewing their energy and semen out through their genitals. Afterward, they feel they have released stress. The superior man's orgasm often explodes up his spine and into his brain, from there raining down through his body like an ambrosial bliss of rejuvenation. The technique for converting depletive orgasms into rejuvenative orgasms involves contracting the pelvic floor near the genitals and drawing energy upward along the spine through the use of breath, feeling, and intention. What is premature ejaculation? Some men ejaculate before entering their woman's vagina. Others ejaculate after 10 minutes of sexual intercourse. What matters is not when you ejaculate, but how deeply you are able to commune in love, with no boundaries, through the form of sexual embrace. If your ejaculation signs the end to your session of loving before both you and your woman have fully opened yourselves, then your ejaculation is premature. If you are like most men, your first sexual experiences as a teenager involved masturbation. Masturbating over and over ends up conditioning your body and nervous system to a habitual sequence: genital stimulation, mental fantasy, building up tension, and ejaculating. Teenage masturbation is essentially an exercise in fantasy, done alone, without much love or even human intimacy. By the time most men are having sex with women, they repeat the same sequence they learned while masturbating. Sex has become a road toward ejaculation, a road paved with internal imagery, self-enclosure, and the desire to release tension. To realize the full potential of sex, you must learn how to recondition your body and nervous system. You must learn how to unhabitualize the mechanics of your ejaculation and convert your orgasm into a massive profusion of energy which deepens, not ends, the lovemaking session. The first step is undoing the habits you learned while masturbating as a teenager. Instead of tensing your muscles as you become sexually stimulated, learn to relax them. When you notice your face squinching up, relax it. When you notice your breath getting fast and shallow, slow it down and deepen it. When you notice your belly tight and your chest hard, open your belly and soften the area around your heart. The next step is to redirect your attention. Learn to feel your partner more than your own sensations during sex. Rather than curling attention into yourself and feeling the pleasures moving in your own body, feel outward, into and through your partner. Feel your partner more than you feel yourself. Feel her movement, her moans, and her internal energy. Eventually, with practice, you will be able to feel through your partner, as if your partner's body were a doorway into a vast open space of energy, light, and awareness. This unobstructed feeling is the basis for true lovemaking. Extend your love out beyond yourself, and in time, through and beyond your woman. This takes practice, since there is a strong tendency to focus on your own physical sensations, especially during times of intense sexual stimulation. Counteract this tendency by practicing to feel beyond yourself and through your partner as if there were no obstructions to your loving at all. Besides relaxing and loving into and through your partner, you must become very sensitive to the force of your breath. Breath moves life energy through your body as well as your partner's. If your breathing becomes too shallow, the life force cannot be conducted through your body. Instead, this force builds up, usually in your head or in your genitals. If it builds in your head, you will begin to spend more and more time fantasizing about sex and women. If it builds up in your genitals, you will feel the need to ejaculate, either through sex or masturbation. Therefore, if you have not breathed fully during the day, by the time you approach your sexual partner, you will be filled with fantasies and ejaculative urge. So, a large part of avoiding premature ejaculation is to breathe fully, deeply, and with great force throughout the day. Your inhales should feel like they are drawing energy down the front of your body, filling your belly and genital region. Your exhales should feel like they are moving energy from your pelvic floor up your spine into your head. By breathing fully in this cycle, down your front and up your spine, your internal energy can flow freely. Your head and genitals don't get clogged or tense with energy, and your urge to ejaculate is diminished. Sex intensifies the life force in your body. As you become more and more stimulated, your breath quickens and your body begins to writhe with energy, which tends to become focused in the genital region. Unless you are careful to move this energy with your breath, it will build up in your genitals and cause a pressure that wants to be released through ejaculation. There is a specific exercise you can perform throughout sex and also during the approach to orgasm. By doing this exercise, you will convert the direction of the orgasm, so instead of ejaculating out your penis, you will ejaculate up your spine, experiencing intense bodily bliss and emotional openness, far beyond the quick pleasure and depleted peace following an ejaculative orgasm. To practice this exercise, you must learn to consciously contract the muscles of the floor of your pelvis. This area includes your genitals, anus, and perineum, which is the space between your anus and genitals. This exercise of contracting your pelvic floor feels a lot like you are trying to stop yourself from going to the bathroom. In addition to contracting the floor of your pelvis, practice pulling it upward into your body and toward your spine. This upward pull will actually lift your scrotum slightly up toward your body. As a single movement, practice contracting and pulling upward the entire floor of your pelvis, including the anus, perineum, and genitals. You can practice this in sets of 15 or 20 contractions, holding them as long as you can. You can practice this in sets of 15 or 3 or 4 times a day. Eventually, you will be able to contract and pull up your pelvic floor easily, holding it for as long as you want. This means you have developed the necessary muscular control. Now you can practice the more subtle work of moving the energy up your spine. At first, it may seem like you are just imagining internal energy moving in your body. But with practice, you will more easily see or feel this energy moving. After all, it is the same energy that, during intense sexual stimulation, you have no trouble feeling build up in your genital region, which is then released through ejaculation. You can feel it building up like water behind a dam, wanting to burst out. Well, the same energy can burst upward, and when it does, you will experience an orgasm far more pleasurable than the brief burst of typical genital ejaculation, and also far more healing and enlivening. While you are having sex, but before you are close to ejaculating, practice contracting your pelvic floor as just discussed. While you contract it and pull upward, breathe the energy up your spine. You will have to experiment to determine whether to inhale or exhale the energy up your spine, although most people find that exhaling up the spine works best. If you combine the upward contraction of your pelvic floor with breathing up your spine, you should lose just a little bit of your erection, as well as the need to ejaculate. As you continue making love, repeat this exercise as often as you need to in order to maintain relaxation and openness. Even while practicing this technique, you may notice that you occasionally come very close to having an orgasm. At this point, stop moving, apply the upward contraction of your pelvic floor, and breathe the orgasm energy up your spine. In addition to the upward contraction of your pelvic floor while breathing up the spine, some men find it helpful to clench their fists and teeth while looking upward with their eyes, especially when the urge toward ejaculation is particularly strong. With practice, however, all the muscular action becomes very subtle and gentle until the entire exercise is done primarily through your breath, feeling, and intention. When the energy shoots up your spine, relax and enjoy the colors, feelings, and blisses that will fill your head and rain down through your body. Once you are proficient at this exercise, you can evoke the same sensations in your partner by feeling into your partner from your heart as the orgasm shoots up your spine. The upward movement of your energy will magnetize the same movement in hers. These practices will not be successful unless you are able to surrender as love in the midst of sexual embrace. Love is the governor of energy. More and more, you must practice being love in the form of sexual coupling. Regardless of how tough your day has been, regardless of the burdens you face in your life, sexing should be a time of practicing love. Like meditation or prayer, sex should be a special time of practicing opening your heart and giving love fully into and through your partner and in communion with that which you hold most sacred. If your heart is closed, your energy will be obstructed, and you will never be able to convert your spurt into a lightning bolt of love. If you don't practice love, your sexual energy will be governed by old habits of body and emotion, which are all about the tiny commotion of ejaculation. So if you want to expand sexual bliss as fully as possible, remember that your emotional disposition is far more important than the technical exercises themselves. Because each individual is different, You must experiment and discover what techniques, done as exercises of love, work best for you. With practice, you will easily be able to experience deep,
Make sure y'all give this video a
non-ejaculatory
thumbs up if you
orgasms
haven't
that
already.
shoot up your body as light, leaving your heart wide open, your energy enlivened, and your body reverberating in bliss. You will be able to make love for as long as you want, and sex will rejuvenate rather than deplete your life force. In summary, this is what to remember as you experiment and discover what techniques work best for you. 1. Rather than fantasizing or entertaining inward sexual imagery of any kind, remain totally present, aware of your own body, breath, and mind, and especially attentive to your partner. Break the masturbatory habit of inward fantasy by consciously practicing sex as a relational play of love with your partner. 2. Keep your body and breath relaxed and full. Especially keep the front of your body relaxed, so that your belly is vast and your heart is soft and wide. This will help prevent too much tension from accumulating in any one area. 3. Learn to feel into and then through your partner, so that your attention is directed beyond your own sensations and even beyond your partner's sensations. Practice feeling outward, without limit, as if you are feeling to infinity. In other words, whatever you are feeling, feel it fully, and then feel through and beyond it, so that sex becomes a constant feeling through and beyond every sensation, rather than focusing on any particular sensation. 4. Throughout the day and during the sexual session, practice breathing so that your inhalation moves energy down the front of your body, and the exhalation, more addiction to ejaculation, is often a sign that your energy is blocked and you are not yet breathing fully in this circle throughout the day. 5. During sex, occasionally practice the upward contraction of the floor of your pelvis while breathing sexual energy up your spine so it fills your whole body. Especially as you begin to approach orgasm, you can combine the upward contraction of your pelvic floor with breathing up the spine in order to shoot your orgasm up into your brain and even out through the top of your head, rather than down and out your genitals. This upward orgasm will then feel like it is gently seeping down through every cell of your body, saturating you with thick, open light. These techniques will be less than effective unless you practice love during sex. The natural intelligence of love itself acts to circulate energy in the most healthy way possible. These techniques are mostly exercises to counteract years of poor sexual habits, usually initiated during teenage masturbation. After eliminating the mechanical habit of ejaculation and unobstructing your energy, the force of your heart will very naturally guide your orgasm so it explodes upward throughout the body and brain, before raining down in a profusion of bliss, which not only rejuvenates you, but dissolves your edges like shadows in the sun. Part 8. Men's and Women's Yoga of Intimacy. Chapter 47. Take into account the primary asymmetry. Intimate relationship is never the priority in a masculine man's life, and always the priority in a feminine woman's life. If a man has a masculine sexual essence, then his priority is his mission, his direction toward greater release, freedom, and consciousness. If a woman has a feminine sexual essence, then her priority is the flow of love in her life, including her relationship with a man whom she can totally trust in body, emotion, mind, and spirit. Man and woman must support each other in their priorities if the relationship is going to serve them both. Although you and your woman are equal beings, you are very different creatures. If she has a feminine sexual essence, her core will be fulfilled when love is flowing. For example, she can experience difficulties in her career, but if full love is flowing in her life, with her children, friends, and with you, then her core will be fulfilled. Not so for you. If you have a masculine sexual essence, then your woman and children can be loving you all day and night, But if your career or mission is obstructed, you will not feel at ease. You won't even want to share much intimate time with your woman until you have your career or mission back on track. Your woman's core is fulfilled by love. Your core is released from stress by aligning your life to your mission. To you, intimacy is something to be enjoyed in addition to your purpose. To your woman, intimacy is at the core of her life, and the tone of your intimacy colors everything else she does. When your intimacy is going great, your woman's life is filled with the color of love. She feels good at work, at home, in bed. When the intimacy is not going so great, when your woman feels unloved, rejected, hurt, or abandoned by you, then her day will be colored by hurt. At work, at home, and in the bed, the pain of unlove will color her disposition. But for you, things are different. When your intimacy is going bad, you can't wait to leave the house and go to work. There, you can be in your element, aligned with your purpose, and happy. For you, the intimacy is just one aspect of your life. When you are absorbed in your mission, you often forget entirely about your intimacy. For your woman, the intimacy is at the core of her life and colors everything else she does. This is the primary asymmetry in intimacy. It goes much farther than this, though. For most men, their woman is replaceable. Harsh, but true. If you are like most men, you know deep down that if you were to lose your present woman, you would deeply grieve, but you could eventually find another. Many times, in fact, you have probably fantasized about finding another woman even before you lose the one you have. Because a man's priority is his mission, he will always gravitate to a woman whom he feels would most support his mission. If he feels another woman would enliven him and give him more energy for his work, he might desire her as an intimate partner. However, you are lodged in the heart of your woman. She feels you all day. She senses where you are at. Feeling threads from her heart are connected to your heart day and night. You are not replaceable in her perception. She does not frequently consider other options as you probably do. Whereas you live in a world of relational possibility, she lives in a world of relational actuality. Your relationship with her is not only at the core of her life, but is also the main determinant of her mood. If your woman has rejected her own feminine core, then she will struggle against her inherent heart connection with you. She will try to identify with her masculine side, attempting to deprioritize you and your relationship. She will think that she must live her own life and put more energy into her own career, for instance. While it is obviously healthy for every man and woman to learn to become whole and independent, it is self-destructive for your woman to try to lessen the import of your relationship in her life. If she has a feminine sexual essence, the desire for the flow of love is at her core, no matter how dedicated she is to her career or other activities. Without a deep and loving intimacy with you or with the divine, she hurts. It will never work for her to try to quell the pain by absorbing herself in her career, her art, or her friends. If she has a feminine essence, she must honor herself by owning her deep desire for the flow of love in her heart, just as a person with a masculine essence must honor his or her direction in order to be truly happy. Our culture has become so anti-feminine that many women are trying to deny the feminine core desires and adopt a masculine way of dedication to mission. By denying their feminine essence, such women are predisposing themselves to emptiness of heart, depression, and bodily symptoms of disease. Likewise, you must not deny your woman's feminine essence by feeling or saying to her, "Your whole life seems to revolve around our relationship. That's not healthy. You should have your own life, your own direction, your own career and friends. Stop complaining about our intimate problems and get a life." While it is common sense that she should live a fulfilling and engaging life outside of your relationship, it is sexual wisdom to understand that her feminine essence will always hold the flow of love at its center. That's just the way it is.
That's
This flow
just
of
the
love
way
could
it
be in direct
is.
relationship with the divine, although it is usually in relationship with a man. The desire for intimate loving is as central to your woman's life as the mission toward freedom, financial, psychological, and spiritual is to yours. Think of how many hours a day you dedicate to your mission, and compare that with how many hours a day you spend serving your woman's deep desire for the magnification of love. If you want her to honor and support you in your quest for freedom, you must honor and support her in her love of loving. Her devotion to love has a lot to teach you. Some men feel guilty for not being as into the relationship as their woman is. You must understand that this is natural. If you have a masculine essence and your woman has a feminine essence, you will never be as concerned, distraught, or elated about your intimacy as your woman is. Don't fake it. Don't try to act concerned for the sake of your woman. She can feel where you are really at. Instead, be authentic to your core desires and dedicate your life with utter impeccability to your highest goals. If one of your highest goals is psychological or spiritual freedom, then you will highly value your intimacy. Nobody will press your buttons or reflect your asshole to you better than your woman. She will point out your weaknesses better than a boot camp drill sergeant. She will reflect your ambiguity or clarity better than any workshop teacher. She will do you better than a whore and give you more loving than you can handle. And all the while, she will shower your life with radiant blessing, healing, and enlivenment if she learns to own her true feminine desires and you learn to own your true masculine desires. When you both honor the primary asymmetry in intimacy, you can each concentrate on your true desires rather than compromising for the sake of an imaginary truce between genders. When your life is truly aligned with your highest purpose, you'll become more present, more loving, and more humorous. Your woman will then be the first recipient of your magnified presence, love, and humor. If your intimacy is not constantly growing in this way, your life is not aligned with your highest purpose. Likewise, if your woman devotes herself to her true heart desires, you will feel it. Her energy, radiance, wisdom, and power to create heaven on earth will feed you constantly, even when it is not directed toward you. You will be inspired by her magic, enchanted by her sexuality, awed by her knowingness, and enlivened by the life that flows so lovingly through her body. However, if she has chosen to deny her heart desire and adopt more masculine goals of purpose and mission as her core needs, both of you will suffer. Her radiance will diminish, her guardedness will increase, and neither of your hearts will feel relaxed in the intimacy. Your woman could be a corporate executive, and you could be a house husband. That's fine, as long as you are living your highest purpose and her life is devoted to love. Honor this primary asymmetry in yourself and in your woman. Only when you are willing to support each other's core desires will the intimacy give each of you what you want, and then perhaps bring you beyond even that into the utter joy of being, of which your relationship is only a hope. Chapter 48. You are responsible for the growth in intimacy. There are masculine and feminine gifts in intimacy, and each gift comes with its own responsibility. The direction of growth of a relationship is primarily the man's responsibility. The energy of an intimacy, pleasure, sexual flow, and vitality is primarily the woman's responsibility. A simplified way of saying this is that the man is responsible for the woman's depth of love. You may have noticed that your woman can get lost in her moods. She can get on a roll of hyper-nervousness, or she can feel dejected and mope around the house surrounded by a black cloud. It is extremely difficult for most women to get out of their mood once they are in it. Your loving intervention is one of your great masculine gifts. The point is not to be her therapist, but to be her wake-up call, her heart opener, her reminder of the primacy of love. If it takes you more than 5 minutes to open her into love, you are probably talking too much and acting too little. Or perhaps you have forgotten your true purpose. Your masculine gift is to know where you are, where you want to be, and what you need to do to get there. If you don't know one of these, then you need to discover it by any means necessary. This vision is, essentially, the basic gift you have to offer your woman, as well as the world. If you have no higher vision than the day-to-day grind of housework job, childcare, TV, and vacations, you are failing your birthright. Your woman will feel cheated and ungifted by you, as will the world, and they will both give you less of their gifts in return. If your woman is always stressed out, you need to know what she could do with her life in very practical terms so she can relax. Perhaps she needs to exercise more, meditate more, change her career, dance more, or spend more time with her woman friends. If your woman feels unfulfilled most of the time, you need to know what she is missing. How often does she open her heart and body in the irrepressible ecstasy of devotional surrender? How often does she abandon herself fully into the divine love which surrounds her? How often do you serve her to do so? Are you playing the game of sensitive man, giving her space to be miserable, rather than offering her your consistent and fearless gifting? And if she doesn't want your gift, your deepest wisdom and unsuppressed loving, then why would you want to be with her? Your main gift in intimacy is to guide her, moment by moment, out of her moods and into the openness of loving. And then, day, to guide her life into greater degrees of divine love, even beyond the relationship, so that her life becomes primarily communion, gifting, and celebration. If you cannot offer your woman such guidance, what can you offer her? Why is she you? What is your relationship all about? To offer this masculine gift, you must cultivate your sense of daily practice. Like a musician practicing his art, you must practice daily the art of feeling through your fear, feeling to your edge, and then living just beyond your edge, neither slinking into private consolation nor pushing so hard you disconnect from your source. The source that is your deepest truth must become more and more the impulse of your life. Over time, all of your activities must become aligned to this source, and so must your relationship. Because you probably tend to become lost in your thoughts, in your goals, and in your projects, one of the main gifts your woman can offer you is getting you into your body, into the present, into love, which connects you to your source. Through her touch, her loving, and her attractiveness, she can also give you energy so that your whole body becomes like an erection, full and alive, and ready to penetrate the world into love. Your woman might be the President of the United States. Still, if you have a masculine sexual essence, her special gift to you is to bring you back into your body with the attractive force of her feminine energy. Without a woman to serve your present embodiment of love, you might spend most of your time working on your projects, staring into a computer screen, churning thoughts in your head, or seeking future goals of financial or spiritual freedom. Meanwhile, you have lost touch with the present, with your body and your woman. When you can simply be with your body and your woman, fully present, without pulling away into your head of separation, then the boundaries begin to dissolve in the openness of your loving. When you can feel through your woman and your body, they become as if transparent, and the source and radiant substance of existence becomes obvious through them. Your natural gesture in this revelation of transparency is service. There is nothing to do but dissolve in the giving of your gift. Your woman may not want to receive your gift. Your woman may resist your gift, and so may the world. But you have no choice. Live at your edge. Love as fully as possible. Let your body be with the energy of your deep source, and take full responsibility for giving whatever love you have realized to the world and your woman. Both will seem to refuse you and seduce you until you can feel through them. Feel through your woman and the world, and die in the giving of your gift. Chapter 49. Insist on practice and growth. Direction in life is a masculine priority, even in intimate relationship. A less spiritually mature man may say to his woman, "My way or the highway." A man in the process of growing will often soften his direction and seek a compromise with his woman, playing Mr. Nice Guy. But a superior man will not settle for less than the fullest incarnation of love of which he and his woman are capable. With compassion, he slices through all bullshit and demands authenticity and humor. It's as if he were saying to his woman, "The divine way or the highway. It's the same masculine insistence on direction that a weaker man will demand. But rather than wanting his woman to follow his personal direction, a superior man wants her to move in the direction that most serves her growth in love and happiness. He will settle for nothing less. If you don't know your own direction in life, you certainly will stand on shaky ground offering your woman direction. So the first step is to align your own life so that at least in this present moment, you are living at your edge, fully aligned with your sense of purpose. If you are not absolutely certain that in this moment you are living exactly the life you need to, then your woman will feel your lack of clarity and she will fight any kind of guidance you offer her. You will tend to forget the purpose of your existence as you get lost in your daily round of projects, business, and duties. Your woman will tend to forget the love at her core. Be cut through in the present moment so that your gift may come from the deepest source. If you don't cut through and take direction, your woman will. Masculine and feminine energies in intimacy are governed by the law of conservation. The less masculine direction you are living in truth, the more masculine direction your woman will take on. If you are lolling about in bozo land or working hard but actually not living your true gift, then your woman will resent your lack of deep direction. She will begin to take on the masculine blade herself, trying to cut through your lolling so that you feel the urgency, connect to your depth, and really give your gift. Since at your core, however, you are masculine, her masculine attempt to cut through your lolling will depluralize you. You will bash heads with her like two rams, since both of you are in your masculine. And if you move into your feminine, things may get worse. A deep habit may develop wherein no matter how strong you are in the business world, you become pussy whipped in your relationship. Your woman gets sharp and masculine. You become falsely receptive and agreeable, and meanwhile, both of you feel like vomiting. If your woman is chronically sharp with you, it is most likely a sign that, regardless of how successful you are outside of your intimacy, you are not aligning both of your lives with the highest truth. You are not cutting through the underbrush of your duties and your woman's moods to reveal the fertile ground source of your lives. And so your woman must wield her own sword. By the law of conservation of masculine and feminine energy, whatever masculine gifts you aren't offering, your woman will naturally try to offer. But since, in truth, your core is masculine, her masculine offerings will most likely turn you off, eventually even repulsing you. You are entirely responsible for cutting through your own laziness, addictions, and unclarity. There is nothing to wait for and nobody to blame. Whatever techniques are appropriate, use them. Try talking with your friends, using therapy, practicing meditation or prayer, going on a vision quest, reading scripture, walking in nature, keeping a journal, or studying with a teacher. Remember that your success with any method you choose depends entirely on your actual commitment to discovering your deepest truth and aligning your life with it. You could meditate until you're blue in the face, but it won't work if, when it comes down to it, you'd rather masturbate, read the newspaper, or watch TV than cut through your addictions, discipline your daily life,
That's
and
what I
give
had
your
to get
gift
over.
from your
Like
deepest,
at first, I wasn't meditating at all. I wasn't spiritual. I mean, I was back then. Even though I was a Christian, I would always say I'm more spiritual than religious. Whole time I was more religious than I was spiritual because once I got on my journey, my spiritual journey, I realized the way I was living was nothing like of a spiritual person. So like shit, it came with me learning how to like control my sexual urges. Me learning how to like accept my flaws and what I thought was flaws, like my gap. This is not a flaw, but growing up I thought it was. I thought my teeth should be straight like everybody else. But then that made me realize why would I want to be looking like everybody else? Why would I want to act like everybody else? Why would I want to wear what everybody else wearing? Like let me be different. This is how I stand out. Like so, having those different type of epiphanies came from the result of like sexual transmutation, like holding your nut.
blissful source. The quality of your intent and the
That's why
consistency
meditation
and
is
depth of your
important.
application.
That's why meditation is important. Taking deep breaths, concentrated deep breaths daily is important. Most people go their whole life without taking a concentrated deep breath unless they're told to. Like so, once you start it, once you start meditating, it's gonna open you up spiritually. Uh, Especially, man, I recommend everybody do it like a Kundalini awakening. I know most people on my chat probably already woke and have some type of consciousness, but still, like, it's some certain meditations you can do on YouTube that can still enhance you. Like, I, when I first started learning to meditate, man, I was doing all type of meditations, spiritual to unlock my spiritual gifts, meditations, to tap into the Akashic records, meditations, past life meditations, healing meditations, like releasing childhood trauma. Like I did every single meditation. I was even doing like self hypnotizing meditations, like to just give me a positive thinking mental. So I did a lot of work to get to where I am now mentally. Like so, and it didn't happen overnight. That shit took years.
Determine the results of your direction and gifting, as well as your capacity to guide your woman's life into greater happiness and bodily surrender into love. Chapter 50. Restore your purpose in solitude and with other men. A man rediscovers and fine-tunes his purpose in solitude, in challenging situations, and in the company of other men who won't settle for his bullshit. But women strengthen their feminine radiance best in the company of other women in mutual celebration and play. A man must arrange for both forms of restoration, his own solitude and men's gatherings, and his woman's time with other women. If you spend too much time with your woman, you will rub off on each other in the worst way. In order to get along together, she will begin to adopt your masculine patterns of speech, denying her feminine desire to flow in play and pleasure without having to make masculine style sense or fulfill a purpose. You will begin to adopt her feminine patterns of touch and affection, denying your desire to get down to it with your mission or your woman. Instead, you will find yourself pecking your woman on the cheek or giving her hugs and pats of lovey-dovey reassurance. In short, the goddess and the warrior will become neutralized householders, sharing only the mildest play of sexual polarity. In order to enliven her feminine core, your woman should spend time every day in absolute abandon and celebration. During these times of dancing, singing, laughter, and sheer delight, her body and mind should be totally released of any obligation to be masculine, directed, controlled, structured, or goal-oriented. These occasions are most rejuvenating when she is with other women, magnifying and rejoicing in each other's feminine radiance and flow. If your woman lacks this frequent feminine rejuvenation, she will develop symptoms of depressed feminine energy, disease, especially in her more feminine parts, lack of life energy, low sexual desire and enjoyment, and a blue, downhearted, despondent disposition. Much of the modern men's movement has concentrated on men reclaiming their inner feminine energy. If you want to revitalize your own feminine energy, then you can do pretty much the same as women do to revitalize their feminine energy. You can go out into the woods and sing and dance and laugh with your friends. For men who have become rigidly stuck in their masculine direction, without allowing the flow of joy and sharing in their lives, this is good medicine. But for men who have lost their sense of purpose, who don't know what their life is about, or who have trouble aligning their life with their truth, singing and dancing aren't the remedy. The cure for lack of purpose is to be challenged to live at your edge, since you have lost the capacity to live there by yourself. The two ways to bring you right to your masculine edge of power are austerity and challenge. Austerity means to eliminate the comforts and cushions in your life that you have learned to snuggle into and lose wakefulness. Take away anything that dulls your edge. No newspapers or magazines, no TV, no candy, cookies, or sweets, no sex, no cuddling, no reading of anything at all while you eat or sit on the toilet. Reduce working time to a necessary minimum. No movies, no conversation that isn't about truth, love, or the divine. If you take on these disciplines for a few weeks, as well as any other disciplines that may particularly cut through your unique habits of dullness, then your life will be stripped of routine distraction. All that will be left is the edge you have been avoiding by means of your daily routine. You will have to face the basic discomfort and dissatisfaction that is the hidden texture of your life. You will be alive with the challenge of living your truth rather than hiding from it. Unadorned suffering is the bedmate of masculine growth. Only by staying intimate with your personal suffering can you feel through it to its source. By putting all your attention into work, TV, sex, and reading, your suffering remains unpenetrated and the source remains hidden. Your life becomes structured entirely by your favorite means of sidestepping the suffering you rarely allow yourself to feel. And when you do touch the surface of your suffering, perhaps in the form of boredom, you quickly pick up a magazine or the remote control. Instead, feel your suffering, rest with it, embrace it, make love with it. Feel your suffering so deeply and thoroughly that you penetrate it and realize its fearful foundation. Almost everything you do because you are afraid to die. And yet, dying is exactly what you are doing from the moment you are born. 2 hours of absorption in a good Super Bowl telecast may distract you temporarily, but the fact remains. You were born as a sacrifice, and you can either participate in the sacrifice, dissolving in the giving of your gift, or you can resist it, which is your suffering. By eliminating the safety net of comforts in your life, you have the opportunity to free fall in this moment between birth and death, right through the hole of your fear, into the unthreatenable openness which is the source of your gifts. The superior man lives as this spontaneous sacrifice of love. The other means, besides austerity for rediscovering your masculine core, is through challenge. The more superficial forms of challenge include activities like mountain climbing, ropes courses, competitive sports, and boot camp. These forms of physical challenge instantly enliven the masculine sense of purpose and direction in men and women. Deeper forms of challenge involve directly giving your gifts in ways that have been blocked by your fear. If you have always been afraid of public speaking, you can take on the challenge of speaking in public once a week for 3 months. If you fail and miss an appointment 1 week, the following week you must give 3 talks. If you have always wanted to write a novel but could never finish one, you tell your friends that you are going to complete 1 chapter a week or a month for the next year. Every time you don't complete your weekly goal, you owe your friends $100. If you don't complete your yearly goal, you owe them $10,000.
Oh, shit.
The point is, there must be a consequence for freezing in the face of fear. There are obvious consequences for freezing in the face of fear when mountain climbing or playing competitive sports. You must instill consequences throughout the rest of your life, unless you want to cling to the safety net of superficial pleasures. The most potent forms of masculine realignment involve both austerity and challenge. Go to the middle of the woods by yourself, with only survival necessities. Nothing to read, nothing to do. Fast from food and don't sleep for as long as possible. Challenge your attention with some practice, like chanting or ritual movement, so that your attention doesn't drift or become balmy. Open yourself and wait. Do not cover your suffering. Do not quit before you fall through the hole of your fear and emerge with a vision of your true mission, the unique form of your living sacrifice. This kind of isolation and challenge is an extreme and potent form of masculine vision questing, but there are more common forms that are useful in everyday life. Spend time every day in solitude, with no distractions. Just sit for 10 minutes. No fidgeting, no channel surfing, no magazine thumbing. Just be exactly as you are, not trying to change anything. Stay with your suffering until you fall through it and into it, the groundless source of your life. Just as your woman must regularly spend time with only women, you must regularly spend time with only men. At least once a week, get together with your friends to serve one another. Cut through the bullshit and talk with each other straight. If you feel your friend is wasting his life, tell him so, because you love him. Welcome such criticism from your friends. Suggest challenges for each other to take on, in order to bring each other through the fears which limit your surrender and gifting. Always agree on consequences for not persisting in the challenge. For instance, if you agree to ravish your wife for 3 hours every other day for a week, then also agree to mow your friend's yard if you miss a day of ravishment. You should alternate these kinds of cutting through the bullshit gatherings with masculine celebrations. Even during these celebrations, though, there should be a challenge to remain conscious and undistracted. They are not occasions for lapsing from fullness, but for communing beyond fear. Perhaps you can all go swimming in ice-cold water together, or drink to the point of inebriation and then spend the rest of the night chanting hymns of the mystery of existence. Nobody allowed to drift. Whatever you do, share as much loving as you can with your friends, without settling for mediocrity or less than each man's fullest gifts. Make sure that you arrange for your woman's rejuvenative time and your own. Otherwise, you will rot in the cushions of bargain stagnation and sexual neutralization, which pads your true edge of living your gift in relationship. Chapter 51. Practice dissolving. Like dissolving in the intensity of an orgasm, a man's greatest desire is to be utterly released. Moment by moment, practice loving through your woman and the world, allowing the force of your surrender to transform every moment into an orgasm of divine dissolution. Embrace every moment of experience as a lover, and trust whatever direction love moves you. Die in the giving of your gift, so you don't even notice you have stopped holding on to yourself. Fear is your final excuse. Don't fight it. Love through it.
That was the
Audible hopes you have
that was the end of that book. So how did y'all think about that for the men at least, and for the women who was tuned in? I know it said a lot of things like that could have been like ear jerking. Well, what? But for me, like this was my second time reading this book or listening to the book, audio book. So, but I will continue to reread because, like I said, I always learn something new from every time I reread a book. So, we're not gonna listen to The Art of War tonight because this went over 3 hours. So tomorrow, like we're gonna listen to the Art of War audio book. That's only like an hour, and like it ain't that long. So we might be able to get two audio books in. So I don't know yet, but just know we're gonna be back tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, really appreciate it. Every night that y'all showing up, like, it just continues to motivate me to show up. So, as I stay consistent, y'all stay consistent. Y'all we continue to grow, continue to evolve, continue to flourish in life. Like, I'm now speaking positivity for everybody who's tuned in today. And like, hey, G Second, thank you for tuning in. This is my first time seeing my live, but shout out to you for coming through. And so I want everybody else to continue to grow as I grow, continue to evolve. Let's all get rich, get wealthy. Financial success and freedom is the goal, like in evolving, of course, spiritually. So I'm gonna do my job, and y'all continue to do y'all's. Peace.